All right, cool. Here we go. 6:53. Author workday 25. A little late. A little late. It's hard to get started sometimes in the morning. I got a wife and a life, you know. That's with this music for a minute. I don't know. I dig it. It's good. Hopefully, I won't get copywritten, but we'll see. Today, working on a book. Chapter 12. My Island. We got 1,900 words. Can turn that into 4,000 or 5,000 by the end of this stream, hopefully. My name is Gabriel Rathway. I am an author who is streaming, not a streamer who is an author. I write books, as I say, and I'm gonna go ahead and link those in the chat. Bong bong. And then get started with work. So I hope everybody is having a good day and they're getting their work done, whatever that may be. I was gonna stream yesterday, I just didn't get a chance. I was doing stuff, so you know, didn't get a chance. Bring that down a little bit. Okay, there we go. All right, so me first, my books. Okay. There we go. Well, all right, let's do from Chef. Let's do complete link. I'm good to go. Man, no reviews still. I wonder what's up with that. I wonder why they are not letting them through. Because From Chef is getting tons of reviews. So I wonder. I've been hearing people complain about it, or seeing people complain about it on the different boards. And it's it'd be rough. It's rough when you're banking on those reviews for your paycheck, you know. But you know, it is what it is. I mean, you know, what are you gonna do, right? I'm definitely not gonna jump on that complain to Amazon train that they got going on. Let's make sure this link works. Yeah, there's a petition, I think, going on in the groups to like complain to Amazon. I was like, I don't know if I would sign that if I was you. It's kind of dumb. It's like going to your boss and starting to walk out and then thinking you're gonna have a job when you get back. I don't know. Whatever. Man, this book is so good. I'm so excited. It's gonna be so much. It's so much fun to write that like I'm enjoying writing. I got this new chapter I'm gonna write today, and it's a whatchamacallit. It's kind of like the side character, the sidekick character Wesley, the cat, swallows the AI, and I'm gonna have like an interplay between them two. So it's kind of like what's the movie Inception? It's a dream within a dream, but it's like a Rosencrantz. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Shakespeare, but there's a famous, semi-famous, not very famous indie movie called Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, and it's two side characters from the Shakespeare Hamlet, and it's just their monologue of you know, their not monologue, but their interaction of what happened after everything. It's really funny if you're into, you know, whatchamacallit, if you're into Shakespeare or Old English, you know, art. It's good stuff. Okay, so islands in there. Oh, I need to do here. No. Here. No. What am I missing here? This one? Yes. Okay. I need my email. All right, there we go. Promotions. So from Chef, book 4, 3 and 4. Here we go. From Chef, book 3, audio on sale. 50% off. There we go. Oh, that's not it. Wrong. Durka. Let me fix that. No, that's not it. That's it. Here. There we go. And then book 4 is on sale 70% off. Yeah, from Chef, book 4. Which means, oh, I know, which means book 5 will be on sale at the middle of this month, and then book 6 audio will be coming out next month, which would be good. From Chef, book 4 audio on sale, 7%. All right. And then what's one more thing I had? Oh, I got a release date. I got a release date for what's her name? It's Audrey. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Audrey. It's my new contact at Tantor. And I've got a release date for Warrior Academy Redux audio, May 26, 26. That's pretty cool. I'm excited for that. Let me pull up this website. I can make it in the chat. Here we go. Episode 1. Nice. And I got to get him I got to get them a copy of the. Got to get them a copy of the cover so they can have. Actually, no, I already sent it, didn't I? Oh no, I just got the email. Okay. Oh man, workdays. Well, so I have to email my buddy over in the cover artist over in Spain, Jose, to get those. I'll email them. Cool. All right. So next is time to do a little bit of. What's today? The 5th, yeah. So I need to do some scheduling of clips and then be on to the writing. I don't know what I want to watch today. I don't know. I got a lot of writing to do. 7. I'm gonna try to write for 3, maybe 4 hours. That's a long time. Currently, let me move my face. Currently, there, it's better. I'm at 1914, so 1,900. I'd like to turn that into about 5,000, and that should be no problem because of the chapter. I think I segued out of this, or I just kind of got off track. It's going to be Wesley and the AI that he ate, because there was a glowing. If you've been watching the stream, there was a scene where after the character gets transported to New World. There's this like glowing AI ball about the size of a golf ball, and it's like telling him what's happened, and then this like streak comes up and like eats it, and that's the cat. That's Wesley. And now, last chapter, if you've been watching, the main character, you know, is shooting through the barrier, killing things, and then some stuff happens, and he hears Wesley screaming, and he turns around, and the cat comes running out of the back, and followed by like these hellhound wolf things, and jumps over the pool, and then the hellhounds fall in the pool, and then the fire and the water explode into steam, blah blah, they die. Anyway, they're having this like back and forth, and I've got this scene idea, this chapter idea, where the cat Wesley and the AI are having a conversation 15 minutes before that, and I'm gonna have to write that. That's what I'm gonna write today, so that'll give me an extra 1,000 plus 2,000 words, so that shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't be a problem. So yeah, right here. So this will be the end of that. Then right here, we'll start here, and then this is where it's Wesley, the cat, and then the AI. So currently the dynamic is the main character is in this new world. He's not actually the main hero. It's the hero is the homestead, they're finding out. But also the main character is trying to learn the rules from the cat Wesley, who's trying to learn the rules from the AI. So it's like a game of telephone passing up. So there's like a lot of like, you know, gives me a little play of changing the formula a bit. You know, I don't have to. It doesn't have to be like, you know, lit RPG where main character is another world, main character learns skills, main character levels up, blah 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 blah. This gives me a lot of play to like kind of change things around and be a bit more artistic expression, a little bit more artistic expression. All right, so I'm pretty sure the 6th is mañana. I bet you this is gonna get me. I don't want any words. Thanks. I don't really like this playlist. What I want is something like happy, upbeat. That's not gonna get me kicked off of. Get me copyrighted. I think this one might, but I think it's gotten me copyright hit before. Oh, hey, Carl Casey at White Bad Audio. Thank you so much. Let's try this out. I like his stuff. It's a bit more. Let's go. Okay, this is 2 hours, so that's better. Okay, where am I? Okay. So 5 p.m. Oh, okay. So 5 p.m. on the 6th. Is that where it's at? Looks like it. 5 p.m. on the 6th. Huh. Why aren't there any? You know, I must have skipped some days on this one, 100%. Okay, so we're gonna do 6 p.m. 1, 3. Yeah, I must have missed this one. Okay. All right, so we'll just skip some off hours. So we'll do 7 p.m. then. Okay. New 21. I did that one. I'm pretty sure. Let's make sure. Yeah, that one's done up to 25. Yep. Okay. So we could do 22. Wait, what happened? Oh, here we go. 21. 20. I think I'm gonna do 22. Yeah. We'll do. Is it better to click this one or this one? Let's see what this one looks like. Let me see. And 5 a.m. Oh, these are all terrible. Let's not use those. Those are all 80s. Let's see what this one looks like. Is it the same? Oh, no, that's way better. Okay. Huh. Aha! Bang, bang, bang. There it is. Let's go. That's pretty terrible. Yeah, son. Let's effing go. Let's see where it is. Well. Alright, clean link. Thinking. Yeah, boy. That is not a good. Why is that a good? Why is that a good? Oh, maybe. What up, Mo? How you doing, man? All right. We'll just pop these in. Let me put this back on. All right. So I'm on 6 p.m. tomorrow. Oh wait, I already did these. 22's done. Look. Never mind then. So 22's done. So calendar. No. So maybe 23. Here we go. 23. Ah, there we go. That'll work. So let's do the 6th at 7 p.m. No, we'll do 6 p.m. There's nothing there at 6 p.m. And then we'll do 8 p.m. And then we'll do 10 p.m. And then midnight on the 7th, 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. Wait a minute. Did I do that somehow? 2 a.m. on the 7th, 12 a.m. on the 7th. Oh, I already have one there, that's why. So let's do odd. So that's 2 a.m. Let's do 5 a.m. We'll do odd 5 a.m. Then we will do 7 a.m. So I have like even odds. I have like shorts going every hour across social media. Trying to work the whole whatchamacallit, saturation effect instead of like, you know, one viral one. Just keep throwing shit at the wall till it hits. Okay, so 9 a.m. I believe. We're on 9 a.m., 7 a.m., 9 a.m. Do. Then 11. Man, this is a segue. This is a non sequitur. I'm so excited about the new Highlander with Henry Cavill. Man, I love the movie Highlander, and the fact that there's one coming out with Henry Cavill is doing it looks badass. I'm gonna watch that trailer. As a matter of fact, that's what I want to watch before I get started writing. 1 p.m. 1 p.m. What else? What else? 3 p.m. 1 p.m. 3 p.m. And I don't know what that is. All right, that's enough of that. And then let's do an old one. Have any of these scheduled? Okay. So I was at Instagram seems fine. Anyway, 7th at 7 p.m. Then 9 p.m. I cannot wait till AI assistants are able to till you can just they're almost there. They're really almost there. Gosh, it's so cold today. Every day is cold. I can't wait till it's summer Florida again when it's a million degrees out. Brr. Even got the heater on too. All the heaters on. I turned up. Hey cat, you coming? Oh, all right, buddy. Come on now. Okay. Oh, this is my cat Wesley. Ugh. He's gonna walk across the keyboard. Of course. Go ahead. Go on. He's gonna go walk across and walk into the bed with the other cat. All right. All right, boys. Come on. Oh, boring girl. Get over, little girl. Come on. Go in. Killing me, Smalls. Go on, buddy. Here you go. You get in there with her. Where you going? Okay, okay. All right. Let's go, cats. 11 p.m. on the 7th. Yeah, as I was saying, it'll be nice when there's AI assistants that you can just schedule this all out of, and they do all this for you every day, and you just go, hey, boom, boom, boom. And I know they say you can do it, but you really can't. You can, but it takes a lot of effort, and it's not that. I mean, you could do it, but a lot of my day would be training an AI assistant. I'm not there yet. Okay, so the 8th at 3 a.m. And then 5 a.m. What if I'm getting copyright stricken right now? As I said, Carl Casey at Wipeout Audio, you're the shiz. Was that? No, son. 5 a.m. So 7 a.m. on the 8th. Lay down, cat. Lay down, cat. Then 9 a.m. Ah, 11. It is not the most exciting of careers, writing books and being your own self-published author, being a self-published author who does all your own stuff like marketing and things like that. But that's any business where you where you're the boss, I can't see. You're your own boss. There's all the crappy work that comes with it, and this is just part of the crappy work. This used to be a lot harder, and it costs lots and lots and lots more money, but this is way better than it used to be, and way cheaper. Way cheaper, super cheaper. It would cost thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars a month to do this kind of work, and having to pay somebody hundreds of dollars an hour. 3 p.m. I don't know if I want to put that up there. Sorry, I've got a kitten. My wife has a kitten, and she has to be in here with me because she's a monster. I'll show you as soon as I catch her when she comes up to lay on my feet because she's exhausted. But all right, whatever. We'll put it in there. It's kind of cute. Kind of cute. Almost done with this. Woo! Busy work. Busy work. That's why I hated like regular jobs. Is like just the crappy grunt work you got to do. You know. All right. I think I'm done with this one. Author reveals secret strategy for selling books. All right. We'll see if that's a one over. The 8th at I think I said 5 p.m. 7 p.m. Crap. 7 p.m. And then 9 p.m. 11 p.m. And then I'm just going to do this to get it out. Just to get it out. 1 a.m. Just so I'm on the next day when I start the next one. Okay. That's that. That's done. Okay. Everything's linked, I believe. Let me check something else. Yeah, I said Warrior Academy Redux. That'll be out on the 26th. That's dope. May 26th. February, March, April, May. So 3 months. Okay. And then My Island will be out February 28th. And then Mercenary Reincarnated Chef will be out April 28th. And then Warrior Academy Book 2 will be out next month some point. I got to get it out next month at some point. Probably around the end of the month. Okay. Let's effing roll. So I still, oh yeah, let's see how, all right. 57, 76, 91, 119, 140, 78, doop-a-doo, 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 down. Which interesting. I think I have a lot of sales overseas because, not today's a little slow, but yesterday was good. We did 10, 11, the day before that was 10 and 11. So I think it'll be a slower start today, but it'll pick up. It will pick up. Yeah, I can't believe that. Oh, this is the one I like. This is a good one. This one for a minute. This one's all right. Is there? Oh, look, that's me. All right, let's see. Is there a good video to watch that is entertaining while riding, or am I just gonna have to listen to music? Probably have to listen to music. I could do some classical music. I wonder if you get copyright for classical music. Let's see what Tom Bilio's got going on. 19 hours ago. Market update. I watched that already. That's a good one. Nothing. Well, looks like it'll be a music. Oh, I've been listening to this. I've been watching this, watching to this anime manhwa they got. Let me see if I can find. I don't want anybody to see my history in case I got anything in there that's like wild. I don't think I have anything in there too wild, but just in case, you know. Let's see. Let's see. History. Premium. Yeah, I got premium. What's up? I got premium YouTube. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Premium YouTube is the shit. That's the truth. Like, it's way better than regular YouTube. Not having to watch videos is legitimately the best thing ever. Now, where is this? Oh, there it is. You. When the game becomes reality, no. Where is history? View all. music, Jeff Teague, Whitney Webb. They said they're fit. Okay. I don't know. I'm gonna keep this for a minute, and we can take a look at that in a second. But I don't know if that's true. I think they're liars. This might be it. Yeah. Okay. All right, that's that. All right, here we go. So I've been watching this. It's what is it called? Regressor of the Fallen Family. So I've been kind of watching that. 48 minutes, pretty good. Maybe I'll watch that. So they say they're reworking Civ 7, which is the worst game ever. The worst game ever. They ruined the franchise. Worst game ever. Terrible, terrible, terrible. If you like, hey, if anybody from Firaxis or anybody that worked in the game ever watches this, I hope you know you ruined the franchise. So anyway, this is their attempt to get it back, and they say that you can play as one Civ, and they're doing all these things to fix it, and all these playtesters are like playing it secretly, and it's really, really good, but I don't know, man. There's like an old adage, like, once the milk's spoiled, it's spoiled. You know, you can't unspoil the milk. They're trying to unspoil the milk. They just need to toss it and make a new game, just redo and be like, hey, here's a new game, kick out everybody who like was part of the last game, and then just start over with people who were working on a different one. It's just a terrible game. Ooh, I need to get more coffee. I'm so tired. Okay. What is a writing tip for the day? I've been trying to like faff off, you know, like play video games, read books, watch things that are like not work, and it's been really hard because everything's just not fun now. And that sounds like dumb to say. Why am I like, these allergies are tough. It's not that everything's dumb, it's just I'm not getting satisfaction from playing anything. Like playing games isn't giving me satisfaction, reading books isn't giving me satisfaction, and watching things isn't giving me satisfaction. The only thing that's giving me satisfaction is writing books, and even then, you know, it's you know, that's work. So, but it's interesting. Like people will talk about this, big memes going on the internet about like people like, oh, playing games in your 20s versus your 30s or 40s, you know. And now it's just feels like a waste. I don't know. Maybe it's a phase and I'll come back out. I think what it really is I'm kind of bored with console games and computer games, and what I really want is a virtual reality game. I've been waiting for them for so long, and they're not out yet. And what I want is like I want like a virtual reality game that's like an augmented reality game, or a, you know, mind in the, you know, I want to get in the game. Really, I'm kind of bored of playing in like consoles is what it is really. And I think that there is the game of life, and people talk about it's kind of a joke, and it's like everybody knows about it. Like life is oh, life's not a game. Life is a game, and it's a really fun game. And I'm kind of, when you start playing it, you know, it's pretty fun, and I'm playing it now and I'm enjoying it. And there's more to it than just like getting a job and making money and stuff. Like I've talked about this before. There's a mindset change that happens when you become a certain age, you know, like when you hit your teens, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s and stuff. But like somewhere around 40, right around 40, your mindset really changes. And I don't know, I'm sure not everybody's like this, but for me, I became just different. I started caring about different things. I felt different, more confidence, just more general, like becoming, I just felt like more like I'm a man. And then with that, you know, some realizations came like, oh, I'm 40. And I'm in phenomenal shape. I'm great. Everything's good. Life's good. I got a great wife. I got a great life. Things are great. And most people are like, oh, 40 is when the end starts. I'm like, no, 40 is like, I'm like, shit, I'm 40. Man, I'm doing great. I got 40 more years of doing great. So I'm like, I'm not even at the halfway point, you know? And now I'm like, oh man, I kind of know how the game works. Life's the game. I got it. I kind of got it figured out. I've got all the, you know, stupid kid shit out of me that I, you know, have had for most of my life. And I'm like, all right, man, now I'm playing the game. A lot of people are like, oh, you didn't play the game right, blah, blah. But like when you were younger, you know, you should be here and here and here. And it's like, no, I don't think so. I think there's like most studies, I've seen a couple of these, that most people change their careers in their late 30s, early 40s, and they go into what they want. Most people, late 30s, early 40s. And it's true. That's what I did. I know a lot of people that they do it, you know? And yeah. So anyway, I mean, it's just a different world now. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling, but because I'm so upset with this stupid game. We'll see what happens. They're updating it. It's supposed to be good. I don't know. But we'll see what happens. I don't trust it. I think I want to listen to this while I... Where can I put this so it's not so super distracting? While I'm writing, I'm gonna listen to this. It's a nice isekai. It's a similar in vein to there's a real popular one. The main character is Lloyd Frontera. It's a real I forgot the name of the manga, but wow, it's just gonna go and go and go, huh? Well, we can do this. Let's go to boom. Again, it does it, huh? If we go zombie manual. Oh, no, wait. Boom.
Master was doing.
Mini player. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's a little less distracting. I like this. What would you call it? Manga AI channel. It's good. I'll subscribe. There we go. This is good. This is one, and then there's another one I've been listening to, which is not. That's a different one, but yeah. Anyway, so we'll put that up, and we'll do some writing. And I think that's it. Okay. So I am 38 minutes in. 7:31. Gonna get some coffee. Use the bathroom. We're gonna get started. I'm gonna get started. You know, I don't know why I keep on saying this we thing. That's dumb. But I'm gonna watch this anime, and we'll put it like that. That'll be a little less. Well, we'll leave it like that. Leave it like that. There we go. That's better. Okay. Gonna watch. I'm gonna have to move this over here. Here. There we go. And then we'll move me here. No. Here. Can we move this into the center? No. What if I put it there? No. What if I put me here, small? Or how about... Nope. Nope. But then... that'll work. That works. Yeah, there we go. And then... Ding, 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 ding. Okay. Okay. So, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, back at 7:45, 12 minutes, and we will start back at 7:45 a.m. And bathroom, coffee, everything, and then we will begin. Let me put on this so we don't, wait, what's running here? So doesn't turn off, and I shall return. Everybody, let's go. is so cold. Ugh. It's not as cold as it was, actually. It's been colder. Brr. Brr. Sorry about that. Hey, buddy. Ooh. Say hi to Wesley. This is Wesley Dembang. He is the inspiration for Wesley in my island. All right, you going up, buddy? You going up? Which way you going? Let's go this way. Come on. There you go. Okay. Time for my Magic Mind. Hey, let me get a sponsorship, Magic Mind. Give me some free Magic Minds. Everybody buy Magic Mind. It's delicious. No, it's just caffeine, matcha, and B vitamins. It's pretty good. I still drink coffee. But it's a nice little shot. It's got those mushrooms in it, like lion's mane. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Probably cat. Ashwagandha. It's got all these like things that are supposed to be good for you. So, you know, whatever. Okay. Sorry. Okay. This is what I'm watching. What we're doing. Oh, yeah. Wait. First, I want to throw a bone to my brother. I'd like to throw a bone to my buddy. This is my partner on the Storyforge podcast. What the heck is wrong with me? I can't talk today. Choking on all that dick. Stupid. All right. Dominique Mondesi. He is my partner over in London on the Storyforge podcast. He's a solid dude, excellent writer. His books are much more. Dude, I'm dying here. Sorry for that, everybody, for coughing into the microphone. He's more like Fast and the Furious. Shoot 'em up, bang bang, let's go. You know, style of writing, like, you know. So he's good. He's great writer, super fun, entertaining as F, and a solid dude. So let me link his books in the chat. I'm doing this because he just had his second release. See, his reviews kind of got screwed. So he's at 37, but he should really be at 100, 200 reviews because people are reading the book and it's a good book. 4.6 is solid, but like he should have more ratings. But it's at 66. His second book is out, which is another solid book, 1 of 2. There's the level 1. Ah, here we go. It's a good song. So here's book 2. It's out. I think it's a cool cover. He didn't like it as much as I do, but I think this reminds me of if you ever. Why can't I speak, man? Oh, it's because I'm like, I got something stuck in my throat. Hold on, let me take my microphone off and cough for a second. That's better. So if you ever watched or played Final Fantasy, Squall from Final Fantasy VIII looks like a background, you know. That's dope. And you got the chains, glowing chains. It's a good cover. I'm impressed by it. I think he did a good job. But let me link this in the Chizzy. And do my buddy a solid and give it a read, you know. It's free on KU, and it's a good read. All right, there it is. Speaking of books, I know I'm gonna start writing in a second. I just want to see something. I want to see what's going on in the land of top 100. Porn, 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 more porn, 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 porn. Oh, kind of porn. Porn, 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 porn. Not porn. A lot of porn, y'all. Not porn. If anybody doesn't know, women read porn and men watch porn. That's how their brains work. So all these girl books are porns. It's all right. That's just what they do. But it's weird to me they're allowed to read porn in public and like get off basically reading a book around people. It's weird shit. Whatevs. Oh snap! Azra and Taylor book 6 is out. I mean, I didn't read it, but people like it, and it's number 44 in the charts. That's solid. That's amazing. That's $1 million. Bing, bing, bang. Plus. What you gonna do with all this porn? And there's no jealousy, zero jealousy. I tried to write one. It's hard to do. It's hard to write a porn, man. It's really hard. For me, some people are really good at it. I'm not good at it. Let's see how. So Maddie's still in top 100 here with all of his books. Let's see what's in. Oh no, that's not Gamelit. Let's go back to Azra. People love this book. I haven't read it, but people love it. I think I started reading it and then I stopped. I don't know why. I think then something else came out. Oh, it's down 64, but still, that's solid. Super solid. DJT, Dungeon Crawler Carl, Homestead. That's still killing it. That was up in the top 100 the other day. That's great. I just started reading book 1. I haven't gotten very far. Like I said, it's hard for me to read other shit right now. Yep. Okay. All right. I'm not seeing anything crazy. Oh, what's this? Oh, the Russians. Oof. That's a rough one. But well, you may have gotten ahead of me, LITRPG freaks in Russia. Andrew Karavik. My island, though, is gonna rock this shit. Yep. What is it in? Good, doing well. Kick ass. Good for you, man. But now I'm like, all right. I'm aiming for you now. Like when a book comes out, I'm like, all right, we gotta do better than Island Builder because my island's gotta be better. That's it. Game on. Pick my target. We're gonna be. So there's a tip. There's nothing wrong with setting imaginary rivals for yourself. Like, you don't have to be jealous, like, or full of hate or anything. Like, I wish these guys, Andrew and everybody else, nothing but the best. I want them to be super, super successful. But like me, I'm creating like an imaginary battle now where like, all right, my book is now competing with your book. He's not competing with me. He doesn't know me. I don't know him really. It's just the title thing. It says Island Builder. It's in a similar genre to mine. I'm like, all right, my book's competing with your book now. Let's see if we can beat it. So that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So don't be afraid to, have the competition. I don't wish anything ill. I just want to win. I don't want anybody to lose. Now, obviously, if you want to win, somebody's going to lose. But I want to win by being better, not in any underhanded way. So there's that. What else? Okay. Yeah, he's got 303 ratings, so that's coming through. I wonder if Amazon may be doing a thing where they're only letting like verifiable people they are sure, 100% sure are on Amazon reading this to put ratings in. It might be something like that. Or it might just be Prime people. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I really don't know. It's a wild thing right now. All right. I'm kind of waiting till exactly 60 minutes, and then I can be like, all right, it's taking me X long to start. So it's 57:34, and I'm gonna start in 2 minutes and less than 2.5 minutes. But so let's see. The goal today is 5,000 words. 25206. All right. Okie doke. All right, less than 2 minutes. So I won't be like looking at the chat. I won't be answering any comments or anything. I probably won't be talking all that much. If I do, it's just mumbles and stuff. I'll just be listening to this manhwa, and trying to write. And I probably get bored of the manga. I might put music back on. We'll see. But I don't know. It's just kind of how I write. I usually have different music on. I have like regular music, and each chapter is a different like regular song, you know, like if I'm in an 80s mood or 90s mood or whatever. But because of the copyright stuff, I can't do that while I'm working. I could just have a blank channel and just have music not playing for me, but I feel like that's kind of shitty. Even though I'm not streaming for money, it's still like, you know, if people are watching, it's kind of crappy to sit there in silence and watch me do nothing. It's boring as shit. I wouldn't want to watch me do nothing. At least if I'm writing and you have music in the back and you're like, oh shit, he's writing so fast. How does he write so fast? Oh my God. Whoa, that's crazy. And one day I wish I could write that fast. Stupid. I like how I got it right here. Basically, 30 seconds. What has happened so far, I'm not restarting it for you. He got reborn again, and he was a piece of shit in his last life. It caused his brother to die. He's reborn again right before that happens, and he's kind of a badass. He's trying to reform his character, so it's a lot like that other one, Lord Frontera. And we're about to start. We got 18 seconds. White bad audio. Thank you so much. Oh, wait. Time cop. Oh, that's gonna get me kicked. That would get me kicked. Sorry. And here we go.
After some time, Logan and his team returned to their home. They finally met. Rick was very angry about what his master had done earlier. Logan said he was glad he was smiling. He asked him what he had been doing all this time, whether he knew what people were saying about him. A few days earlier, Philip was making deals with people, telling them that they needed to buy monster meat. The guy said his boss from his family's barony wanted to buy it. People have heard about this guy, the one who broke up his engagement, and the guy who abused his fiancée. Philip thought to himself that he thought that spreading rumors about monster meat would increase his sales in the market. But he didn't know the details of the master's past. Despite such thoughts, Philip's instincts screamed that he should not miss the opportunity. He said that 1 kilogram of meat would cost 1 gold coin. No mercenary would refuse to sell trash even to a scumbag if he was willing to pay. He turned to the people and asked if they wanted to make money. If they want, then they need to bring him all the Kalok meat they have. The aggressive sales move prompted the mercenaries to bring the meat. The rumor about Logan spread throughout all the fiefs. At this time, Logan was talking about how Philip had done his job perfectly. But Rick didn't understand how he could laugh now. He asked them to look at those he had brought, and think how much gossip they had heard, since they stood with such gloomy faces. Rick didn't understand how he could be so calm when even his father was furious about everything that happened. When the father and son met, he asked him if he enjoyed running away from home. He heard rumors of his crazy deeds, but he is glad that he spent his time usefully. Logan said that rumors are just rumors. He is not the least bit ashamed of what he did. His stepmother immediately began to mock him and said that the first young master did not even realize where his place was and how his actions could affect the honor of their name. Logan replied that it was unnecessary. He had spent almost none of the money he had received for breaking off the engagement. At some point in the squabble, the owner's patience snapped, and Patrick ordered everyone to shut up. He said he wanted to talk to Logan alone and asked to leave them. When they were alone, the father suggested that they have a frank conversation about what was happening and why everything was the way it was. In his mind, Logan thought that it seemed like his father wouldn't back down this time. He replied that he wouldn't understand, even if he told him. Patrick asked his son if he understood and was aware of how people spoke about him. They consider him cruel, evil, obsessed with money, and lately even insane. He asked how long he would have to cover it. If it was just a period that would end in the future, he asked to let him know, so that he could at least apologize to his mother. Logan couldn't believe he mentioned her. That had never happened in his past life, even when he was kicked out of the house. The hero asked to give him a year, after which time he will understand why he is acting this way now. When Patrick was alone, he began to think about how odd the favor sounded in a conversation between a parent and a child. If Logan doesn't answer for his words in a year, he will have to make a decision. Because first of all, he is the head of the house, and only then his father. Patrick apologizes to his late wife. He has no idea what he was up to. He promised to protect him at all costs so that he would grow up to be a good man. But it seems he should have been more careful. A little later, Logan met with his brother, who had already awakened his aura. Damien said that he knew that he could handle it too. In her past life, she didn't awaken until the War of the Regions, but now it happened faster. The boy said that it was because of him that the knights tried to prevent him from meeting his brother when he returned. As it turns out, Damien awakened his aura to meet Logan, and when he did, he managed to fight his way through the two knights. If Logan teaches him the secrets of the divine sword, then when the power stabilizes, he will be able to become much stronger than in his past life. After meeting his brother, Damien was beaming with happiness. After some time, Logan decided to meet with Dwayne. He completed the young master's task. He gathered 350 mercenaries whom he asked to hire. When the mercenaries saw the man for whom they were gathered and left in a crumbling house for 10 days, they thought that they had been fooled. The Baron's family would never have gotten involved with the mercenary guild, unless they had gone crazy. Logan thought to himself that he needed to pacify these people fighting for their lives right now, otherwise they would be impossible to control. He turned to one of the mercenaries and said that he thought he looked funny in armor and with a sword. Of course he doesn't think so. Otherwise he would have to answer for his words. But third-rank mercenaries don't have the ability to look down on others. Logan said he was offended by this. It seemed even a worthless person had pride. He said that if he could hit the guy even once, he would immediately pay him a year's wages and let him go. He staked his honor as an aristocrat on this, and the others would be witnesses to his promise. This mercenary was very big. He would soon be a second rank when he completed this job. When Logan looked at the size of this guy, he understood why he was so confident. The man said that he had been using the sword for much longer than him, so he did not need to worry. When he started to mock the hero, the guy immediately interrupted him with a punch to the face. The people around were immediately shocked by what had happened. Their mouths were wide open. In an instant the battle was over. The mercenary fell to the ground unconscious. The rest of the mercenaries could not utter a single word. They all sat in silence. They were surprised that at that age he could use force. It was just funny. James thought to himself that he thought he was unusual, but he had no idea he was so good. Logan said he wanted to formally introduce himself. He was the one who called them here. Many are probably curious why he would spend money on mercenaries. He said he planned to make them cavalry crossbowmen. The crowd immediately began to talk about how the cavalrymen use horses, and that it takes a lot of time to reload. James approached the hero and said that this was not a suitable weapon for cavalrymen, but Logan knew this.
Okay.
The crossbow is more powerful than the bow, but it takes inexperienced shooters more than a minute to reload. But on a horse, a person will very quickly lose the ability to shoot, even if he has 3 or 4 loaded crossbows. Their bewilderment is understandable. It doesn't matter. He said they might think he's throwing money away by pretending to be a soldier. The hero asked James to carefully train the mercenaries. Later, he will understand why this is necessary. Of the 350 mercenaries, only 312 passed the simple qualification test. Then Jeff came up to the guy and asked what the diagram was that he handed him. Logan replied that it was a diagram of a crossbow that he was going to make. Logan realizes that this looks a bit crude to a professional eye. He used this weapon for several decades in his past life, and he roughly outlined its structure. He is an expert-ranked dwarf, so he should be able to handle it. Jeff said that he needed to place a container that would hold the projectiles in the back of the crossbow and make it self-reloading. He asked what idiot came up with such an idea. But when he learned that it was his master's idea, his face immediately darkened. But then his face changed and he said that if you think about it, it's very innovative. He said that the intertwined cables in such a mechanism would not hold up and would break. And because of the wooden box at the back, it would be uncomfortable for the shooters. Logan said he didn't know how to arrange it and gave him free rein. The guy said to reduce the size of the projectile, and where they are, he is right. One shot will be enough. Instead, you can make the container detachable, so you can reload with each shot. Jeff said it was incredible. Even in the hands of a professional, a crossbow would not fire twice in a minute. Logan said to himself that this system would be invented in the future. He said it was enough. A spring container, some wood, glue, and a bowstring. The gnome immediately got motivated. It was a good test. He decided that he would try to come up with something. Logan said that this weapon was invented by people, and the dwarf was very surprised. He immediately began to ask who did it and where. Jeff said he would do it all in a month. He would create something much better. Then Logan was busy training Victor. His progress was observed by his owner and his sister, who was very worried about her brother. Since they arrived, Logan has only fed them and given them sleep. Food can change them beyond recognition. The next moment, the hero gave the child a rest. The boy fell to his knees and was out of breath. Logan thought to himself that a 14-year-old boy, smaller than his peers, had run 20 kilometers without stopping. But what he likes most is persistence and endurance. He worried in vain. It is obvious that Victor was not a killer from birth, which means his life changed due to some terrible event. After a while, Logan said it was time to move on to the next training session. He will learn the sword technique of the kingdom. Every night student knows it. Logan also took a wooden sword and decided to show the boy how to handle a weapon. Victor thought to himself that he was very tired. He wanted to lose consciousness and fall asleep. But if that's the price of good food and sleep, then the guy is ready to do anything for it. Logan was very surprised that he repeated the movements and even the breaths exactly, and it was the first time he showed them. It was unlikely that Damien was so good at his age. He told Victor that if he developed stamina and perfectly executed the kingdom's technique more than 1,000 times in a row, he could be called a knight. He said that if he needed anything for training, he should tell Riku. He would most likely be able to get him anything. Victor said that the only thing he needed was to ensure his sister's safety. Victor will not be able to go to war, but in the future he will become a huge support for his family. The army of mercenaries and new weapons will become a formidable force. But you shouldn't rely too much on this. Jeff might not be able to get a good crossbow. And even if he does, there's a chance that the mercenaries won't get hold of it. After Victor's training, Logan went to his father and told his father that he wanted to join the Knights' training. The next day, the captain of the knightly order of the Logan family introduced to his subordinates that the first son of the family would be participating in their training. The Knights thought it was some kind of joke. They were outraged that no one took them into account after Logan's victory over the knight. The captain remembered their conversation with the owner of the estate. He said that the Knights would not be pleased with such a replenishment. Patrick said that he was not asking to treat Logan specially. The captain said to himself that even if he said so, he was his master's son, and it would be easier to treat him well. Logan calmed him down and said that if he didn't catch up with the others in terms of grades within a week, he would pretend that nothing had happened and leave them alone. The captain of the order was pleased with this and said to himself that this week the level of difficulty of training would increase threefold. When going through a new level of training difficulty, ordinary knights quickly became exhausted and could not cope with what was assigned. The captain shouted at them and said that they were cavalry and asked how could they not know what it was like for horses. He's going to make them feel how hard it is for them when they're fully equipped. The knights didn't understand what kind of crazy training they were going through. They were surprised before that he said that they would train in armor. They have to go through hell because of that damn troublemaker. At this time, Logan, who was moving very briskly, rushed past these knights. His movements were not like those of ordinary knights, and they looked after him in surprise. The captain of the Order of Knights was also surprised no less than the others. He did not understand why Logan continued to lead. Moreover, everyone was surprised that he was running and still smiling. The captain thought to himself that at this rate it would not be he, but the knights who would fall behind the program. After that, he had to stop the training and give them 10 minutes to rest. He thought that he was tired anyway. He just needed to answer honestly, and he would be able to cancel this crazy training. Logan told him that it was good training. Knights go through this every day, so they must be strong. The knights lying on the ground were afraid of their captain, who was beginning to get angry. In fact, the captain was very upset. It was not the effect he expected. There was a strange atmosphere around. That same night, Logan stayed in the forest, training with them as his insurance in case his plans fail. If nothing works out, then he will join the knights and fight on the front lines. So he needs to get closer to them now and establish connections. Logan's strength can be developed through meditation, but it is also important to train the body, which is what the night training is for. As the core of power grows, he doesn't even feel tired. Logan took out his sword and swung it with his power. He thought that when he reached the second star, he would gain strength equal to a high-ranking knight like his father. The next day, Logan dropped by Jeff's to check on the progress of the crossbows. But the gnome did almost nothing of what Logan asked him to do. The gnome's patience was at its limit from all these claims. His face was already red with anger. After this, Logan immediately apologized and realized that he shouldn't have said that. Jeff said that was true. Even if he was the owner, the pride of the craftsman was higher. The hero began to talk about how several weeks of work had been wasted. He expected too much from him. He misjudged his abilities and was wrong, wasting so much money on nothing. These words made the gnome angry, and he said that in a month he would create a new copy and return. In his thoughts, Logan noticed that Jeff was so angry that he would work from the very beginning. If he made him more angry, he would build something amazing, which was to the hero's advantage. A month later, Jeff returned to his owner and presented a new crossbow with 2 arrows. The gnome said it fires 1 more shot, is easier to hold with 1 hand, and can change magazines. Logan was very surprised. He reloaded it in less than 5 seconds. The range is not as large as the weapons from the past, and it is smaller, but it is better suited for a cavalryman. The guy can't believe they've come this far, even though there's still a whole month before the war. Overjoyed, Logan picked up the gnome and began to praise him for his work. The gnome was unhappy with this action. He said that he was not a child and someone might see them. Then, making a scary face, Logan asked Jeff to make 400 of these copies. Logan's subordinates also saw how the new weapon worked. They were surprised at how far the projectile flew. James couldn't understand how a crossbow could do such a thing. It was muzzle-loading and shot at a long distance with such power and speed. If you equip an army of more than 300 cavalrymen with it, it's scary to even think about the consequences. James said that Logan was truly an amazing man. That's what he meant when he talked about the cavalry crossbowmen. Jeff had a hard time. He had help from other craftsmen, but it was impossible to predict that he would fulfill Logan's order 2 weeks ahead of schedule, and even make an additional 100 crossbows. He would like to share with both the knightly order and the soldiers, but he has financial problems and a technology leak, so he needs to hold his horses for now. Logan told James that from that day on, the mercenaries were to take their crossbows and go clear the mountains outside their territory. He needs to make sure that everything works out, otherwise it will all be in vain. James thought to himself that he wouldn't develop a weapon like that to kill monsters. The mercenary began to suspect that the guy was preparing for war. At the next night's training, people noticed that Logan had tremendous stamina. Maybe it was because of his genes. If he took after his father, he should be good with a sword. They couldn't compare Logan to his father. He had lost to his younger brother before he had even woken up. But despite this, it was quite surprising that he had been able to endure training for a month now. The training that was originally designed to displace Logan has now become entrenched in the order, unexpectedly becoming a motivator for low-ranking knights. And the knights also realized what their horses were like and began to empathize with them. Strengthening the bonds between the knights became a bonus to these trainings. The captain thought to himself that he continued to train them like this because the first young master did not leave. But the result surprised him. At some point, Logan felt an unpleasant gaze on him, and goosebumps ran through his body. Logan's lucky talisman came to him on foot. After exhausting his body with training, Logan began to stimulate his inner awareness through meditation. He has recently noticed signs of a change in his strength. If he can improve it as he plans to, he will become stronger. With this enhancement, Superman, Aura Master, and Supreme Mage will no longer be a threat to him. He began to concentrate the power in his chest, began to read some ancient spells. His aura became brighter and brighter. At some point, the entire room was filled with Logan's aura. Compared to the previous use, the aura was very strong. And finally, the aura training was over. His aura had strengthened, and he had a 2-star core at his disposal. Now he has a base to learn the next secret sword technique. He has a deadly iron cut. Considering the power he gained from the first technique, he is confident that the second one will exceed his expectations in terms of its power. If he had managed to master it before the war, then Logan would not have been afraid even of high-ranking knights. The next day, Logan and his army of mercenaries went into the wild territories to exterminate monsters. They armed themselves with new crossbows to try out their new arsenal. The soldiers were very happy with the coolness of the new guns. They were very delighted. They have no recoil. Their shot pierced the monsters' heads and hit the head of another one that was standing behind. Logan thought to himself that a pack of over 100 monsters had been destroyed in less than 10 seconds. Their old habits of using a regular crossbow were kicking in, but they were starting to reload faster. James rode up to him and asked if he was happy. The guy replied that they had done terribly during the first hunt, but now they had improved. James said that he had never heard of a mercenary army with such power. Did he really plan to kill all the monsters on the continent? Suddenly, one of the knights galloped up to the heroes in a hurry. He said that Rick had sent him. He said that a neighboring lord declared war on their kingdom. Logan was shocked by this news. This lord accused Patrick of insulting one of his ancestors by wrongfully taking his life. Patrick's advisors say that this happened in the distant past, and he decided to get even only now. The captain of the Knight Order began to say that the number of the Knight Order of that lord alone exceeded theirs. Even with the lord, their chances of winning were slim. It is worth asking for support and sending knights to guard the city. But if the knights with power are driven out, the city will plunge into chaos. Patrick was fed up with this fuss. He said that even though his family's power was not as great as it used to be, these people were constantly declaring war for no particular reason. It was obviously planned on purpose. He asked if they had thought about peace before they mentioned it right in front of the Lord. Patrick ordered to prepare for war, to make a plan on how to win it. No objections will be accepted. His sons will also go along with the rest. No exceptions are provided for them. Damien has just awakened his power, and Logan is old enough to contribute. Logan himself trains with the Knights. Since they can use the Force, they will be of great support to them. At this time, Rick was excited. He remembered that his young master was now away. He decided that he had to report what had happened to him immediately. Logan thought in his mind that according to his memories from the past, the war was supposed to start only in 2 months. He didn't know what could have influenced this. This guy who brought bad news advised the young master to hurry up. They would definitely ignore all customs and go straight to war. Then James came up and said that their squad of mercenaries was always ready to take on the job. Logan said that James wasn't too surprised by this. He replied that they were in such a state now that they were ready to start a war themselves. They have excellent weapons in their hands, and it is obvious that they want to use them. Logan thought to himself that these guys were overconfident, but it wasn't without reason. They didn't give the pack of monsters a chance. He said that there was no point in this if the war had started. They only needed victory, and now they had enough strength for this. The Logan family home was in turmoil from the news of the unexpected war, but all 314 people were confident of their victory. The war began earlier than Logan had planned. The day after its declaration, the troops of that lord appeared on Patrick's territory. One of the knights came to the master and said that there were about 100 individual knights, about 1,000 soldiers in the regular army, and about 10,000 cavalry. Patrick realized that a full-scale war was starting. He was very scared. He didn't know what would happen next. They will have to face not only the forces of knights, who are like superhumans to ordinary people, but also the cavalry. As it turned out, no one would come to their aid. They would have to figure it out on their own. Linda was very scared. She didn't know what to do. Dwayne said he had several contacts with the friendly family, but even those connections were unable to help them. The Lord ordered to gather all men who are able to bear arms. They will answer them with all their strength. With their trusted confidant turned against them and trapped, Patrick gathered as many men as he could to fight the enemy. Among them were 50 knights, 500 soldiers, and 4,000 conscripts, a total of 5,000 people. When the lords met on the battlefield, a huge number of soldiers arrived in front of Logan's family. The soldiers did not understand where the first young gentleman was. They said that he had left a long time ago and had not returned yet. When they started insulting the guy, Damien started defending his brother. He said that he couldn't do that. It then dawned on the boy that his brother had known from the start that the war would happen, but he had not believed that he had escaped. Patrick turned to his son and said that he would have to replace his brother. He needed to remain determined no matter what happened. He can't believe it, but now something else is important, namely their victory in this war. The enemy lord was glad that Patrick had finally taken up his sword. He said that his knights are his swords. A man will have to face them. Patrick thought that he needed to deal with the vanguard first. He struck the oncoming knight with all his might, but he was able to block his blow, and this undoubtedly surprised the Lord. Rick was also on the battlefield and was very scared. He was alone on the field and armed with only one spear. He thought to himself that their army was so outnumbered that even servants like him had been sent to fight, and if they were surrounded, it would definitely be the end. Suddenly, an enemy knight attacked the guy and knocked him to the ground with a blow to the head and was about to kill him. But he was protected by an ally, who killed the knight by piercing him with his spear. Just when Rick thought he was safe, this knight was killed right before his eyes. He was shot. The servant decided to run to the rear, as far away from the enemy as possible. He ran across the field as fast as he could. He was surrounded by mountains of corpses, and a deathly atmosphere reigned around him. In the end, Rick couldn't run far. The enemy forces still caught up with him, and he was already completely desperate. The knight who fights Patrick said that the Lord lives up to his name. They prepared so hard that he can't believe what is happening. This knight survived his blows, containing power. Patrick did not know that the enemies also had a high-ranking knight. The other 4 are at least of average rank, which is why they are so confident in themselves. If he doesn't get through, then the knightly order won't be able to either. And then they will all die. Confidence flared up in the Baron's body. He rushed at the enemies with all his might. In his head there was nothing but victory. Suddenly, a knight attacked Patrick from the side and struck him from behind. He managed to dodge and began to shout at them and ask if they were familiar with knightly honor. The knights did not take these words seriously. They did not pay attention. They decided that these were his last words before death. The high-ranking knight began to scold them. He told them not to forget that he was a trained high-ranking knight. Suddenly, Patrick jumped off his horse and charged at the high-ranking man. One of the enemy knights attacked the lord from behind and pierced his body through and through. While the high-ranking knight was blocking his attacks, the others attacked. It was clearly a trap, but he couldn't get around it. Patrick thought that Logan did the right thing by running away. He hoped that he could at least continue the family legacy. Patrick was left surrounded alone. The enemy lord thought to himself that he had done the right thing by not telling anyone about his high-ranking knight. Now all that remains is for him to defeat Patrick and capture his castle. Suddenly the lord saw a cavalry axe flying past. He did not know where it came from. His knight galloped up to him and said that they had discovered a detachment of cavalry in the rear, about 300 of them. The lord didn't know that Patrick had an elite squad. What was unusual was that they didn't use spears. Their only weapons are crossbows, which they wield with great skill. The lord thought he meant the crossbows that the hunters used, so he ordered rear guards and archers to be sent to get rid of them. He said that they were not an elite squad, but some worthless warriors. At that time, knights began to fall dead around the lord. The Baron turned around and saw with his own eyes a large army of mercenaries, with Logan at the head, shooting a crossbow. The guy was furious and ordered his army to shoot at the enemies. The Baron was seriously frightened and a rain of arrows was launched in his direction. The knights finally realized that Patrick's army had such a powerful detachment. They were very scared. Those who did not manage to hide behind the shields were dead if they had delayed. They would already be dead. The archer commanders ordered the archers to shoot back, to respond in kind to Logan. Their arrows did not reach. Logan's crossbowmen were armed with powerful weapons. The enemy lord wondered why his squad was destroyed in a matter of seconds. They didn't even use magic, but damn crossbows. He ordered the cavalry from the front to move here and capture them. The remaining knights rushed to the Baron and he gave the order to go forward and finish them off. Logan was very glad that they were walking into their hands. At this time, Damien fought with one of the knights and clashed with him in a sword fight. This knight noticed that he was an excellent dodger after he dodged his attack. They said they had no time for him. The tide of battle changed strangely. One of the knights said that this boy was no joke of an opponent. Damien said to himself that after being in a real battle, he realized that he was not a genius. He was just a boy who had recently awakened. But he can't lose. His father is counting on him. Patrick told him that he will have to replace his brother. He can't die here. But then the boy noticed that the knights began to turn their backs. Taking advantage of the situation, Damien struck the enemy in the neck and killed him. The boy noticed that arrows were landing on the ground from the rear. He saw the Allied Legion, led by his older brother Logan. The guy was very surprised. Suddenly, enemy knights rushed past him, heading to attack on the orders of their lord. Logan at this time ordered his mercenaries to aim diagonally towards the ground. They smiled evilly and began shooting at the horses. Logan was secretly glad that he had arrived in time to help Damien. But the father still remained. He decided to save his family this time. There is no point in winning the fight if he dies. Before leaving, Logan ordered James to remain in charge. The swordsmen said they planned to attack beyond the range of their bows. He thought to himself that victory was almost within their grasp. He didn't know why he didn't try to earn it himself. Logan is stronger than him, but if he faces a knight of average rank, then it is unknown how everything will turn out. James eventually took command and ordered the riflemen to cover their master. During this time, Patrick continued to fight with the knights of higher rank. This knight can't believe that he ran towards him knowing he would be stabbed. Patrick noticed something strange. They were all literally against their will attacking him. Where did all this despair come from if the advantage was on their side? The Baron was surrounded again, the knights attacking one by one. Suddenly, Logan appeared on the battlefield, and his presence could change the course of the war. Patrick saw with his own eyes that some strong warrior appeared. He had a powerful aura. He recognized him as his eldest son and was very surprised by his appearance. Patrick said to himself that he saw himself in a detachment of mercenaries approaching from the enemy rear, but he was sure that he was far from there. He wondered how he managed to make such a journey through enemies to get to him. When the man turned around, a terrible picture appeared before his eyes. He saw hundreds of corpses of enemy knights. He didn't know how he managed it, but he realized that the advantage was now on their side. Logan confirmed this and his father praised him, saying that he did a great job. The high-ranking knight thought that he had simply knocked down two mid-ranking knights at the same time. He saw Logan as nothing more than a pathetic 20-year-old country boy. At his age, he drank himself to death to become a knight, but in the end, he he decided to stop thinking about it and start fighting. He ordered his comrades to rise from the ground and drink the potion. The middle knights tried to get up but were too wounded. This attack was enough for him to realize that even though Logan was not a high-ranking knight now, he has enough strength to deal with most mid-ranking knights. If he takes care of the mid-ranked ones, and Patrick is going to take on the high-ranked one. Suddenly, the hero stopped his father from fighting. He said that he would handle it himself. Patrick stopped him and said that this knight was too strong for him. He had advanced a lot, but had not yet reached a high rank. The next moment, Logan hit his father in the wounded place, and Patrick bent over. He said that his father was not in a condition to fight. Eventually, the father agreed and left his son to fight the high-ranking knight. Logan walked towards the knight. This knight thought he was going to fight a high-ranked knight, but he was the one advancing on him. He was incredibly angry. His body was enveloped in a furious aura. He asked Logan how dare he treat him like that. Logan charged at the knight with lightning speed, and their swords clashed in battle. Logan's force sent the boy flying to the side, but he was able to block the blow. Even though he is wounded, he does not feel any remarkable strength or high level from it. However, he is pushing him, which means he is giving it his all. He thought that it couldn't be any other way. The next moment, the knight charged at the hero and was very confident in himself. Logan was also confident in himself. His behavior did not show an ounce of fear. The knight rushed towards the boy and their swords clashed again. He thought to himself that if it weren't for the wound left by Patrick, then victory would already be in his hands. He slowed down briefly and Logan was able to land a punch. He had to time his strike well, but Logan never once put himself in the way of the sword. Suddenly, Logan noticed that this knight's sword was absorbing his sword, which was a very inconvenient power for fighting. The guy was glad that Logan had fallen for his trick. His confidence grew again. He used his sword and pulled the guy towards him by his weapon. The perfect moment had arrived for him. Logan's center of gravity had shifted, and he had a reason to attack. The guy threw a punch, but at some point he noticed that he was attacking a piece of cloth that Logan was using as a distraction. He thought the guy was incredibly fast, but it turned out that he was too slow. The hero used the power on his sword and used the secret sword technique. The knight hesitated. He needed to quickly leave this place to avoid being attacked. Logan sent a huge wave of aura energy towards him, which swept away everything in its path. Everyone on the battlefield saw a huge pillar of energy that illuminated the entire area. The hero was upset that a high-ranking knight fell for such simple tricks and died. Logan then raised his sword and shouted that he had defeated the enemy general. The enemy knights heard about this and were shocked. After this, they remembered their lord, but realized that they had not seen his flag for a long time. Some knights began to surrender, but the rest did not approve of this and began to accuse each other of betrayal. Eventually, they realized they didn't want to die and surrendered to Patrick's army. Rick began to praise Logan. He was glad that he was alive. Tears of joy appeared on his face from happiness. The knights also followed his example and praised the first young master. At this time, the enemy lord was heading to his castle. He did not understand at what point everything went wrong. He had been preparing for this battle for 3 years, and even asked for help from other aristocrats and gathered 100 knights. Patrick's cavalry and their weapons ruined everything. The Baron was very angry with Logan. Next time he is going to take revenge on him and kill him terribly. But first he decided to return to his castle, so he would stay alive. Just as the knights were about to open the gates, they saw cavalry led by Logan on the horizon. Logan announced that this lord had lost the war, and he demanded that the gates be opened and the true winner let in. The archers from the castle were surprised by such news. They understood that this was why the lord had returned in such a hurry. Suddenly, the commander of the guard began to ask if they had become cowardly after listening to the enemy's chatter. There are just over 300 of them. They can't break through their blockade. Then they noticed that Logan was doing something strange. The next moment he evaporated into space. As it turns out, Logan was able to use his powers to climb the wall, breaking through the injury. He put his sword to the guard captain's throat and ordered him to open the gates if he did not want to die. At this time, Lord Peter was hastily collecting his treasures. He was incredibly scared. Sweat was pouring off him in streams. The next moment, Logan entered the room. Peter was surprised that the guy caught up with him so quickly. The hero said that his maid showed him the way even before he began to threaten her. This behavior speaks volumes about his reputation here. As Logan said this, a malicious smile appeared on his face. The Baron noticed that behind the boy were his servants, who had betrayed him. Peter began to say that he was ready to pay both reparations and a share in accordance with the convention concerning feudal wars. Logan answered him. He declared war for no reason and invaded them the very next day, and now he mentions the convention. He was furious. This Baron had no conscience at all, based on recent events. Here, Peter began to say that he still had the honor of an aristocrat, and that those captured by the enemy during the feudal wars were guaranteed to have their lives spared according to the convention. Logan told him that he respected the honor and traditions of his house, so he would spare his life, and also give him time and allow him to take the gold and leave. But his father would say so, because he is a man of honor to the core and will spare a surrendered person without any conditions. Suddenly, behind the Baron, Logan saw an open chest, in which there was some kind of dagger. Peter said he could have it. It was forged by the best master in the kingdom. The hero refused him, saying that it would be better for him to take him with him. The Baron was surprised by this. But suddenly, Logan thrust the blade into the Baron's chest with all his might. He reminded him that he said he would spare him. But Logan told him that's what his father would have done. As soon as the Lord began to repeat about honor, Logan laughed at his shamelessness. Does he realize how many people died because of him? He said that his life would end at this moment. All his misdeeds had taken their toll on his karma. Then Logan finally breathed a sigh of relief. This disaster was finally over. After this, he stood up and shouted that Baron Peter had committed suicide. After some time, James burst into the room and said that he should look into the castle's underground dungeon to see what was there. A few days later, Patrick arrived at this castle as soon as he recovered. He couldn't believe that Peter had committed suicide. Suddenly, he asked if it was he who killed him. As expected, the father easily saw through his son, and after a minute of silence, the son finally confessed. Logan told him that they should take his domain back under their control. He doesn't want his kind to remain alive and cause them problems in the future. Patrick agreed with him. He said that Logan is already an adult. He has his own reasons for doing this. He said that no matter what anyone said, he played a vital role in this battle. The father thanked his son and became embarrassed. Logan noticed this and grinned. After that, he said that Logan would become the official heir to their house. But to his father's surprise, the son refused to take up this post. Patrick was surprised that he refused his offer to become his successor. He didn't understand why he decided that. Was he really worried about his reputation? If so, then his contribution to the battle had completely changed it. Logan said that it wasn't that. Their family was a family of knights. Damien was better suited for the position. He started using the power at 14, 5 years before him. It is impossible to predict what feats he will perform when he reaches his brother's age. Patrick said that even though he was right, one does not become the head of a house for military achievements. Logan thought to himself that perhaps, based on what was known so far, if Damien, like in his past life, were to obtain the title of the youngest user of the Force, there would be no more problems. But what's more important is that, having become the heir, Logan will not gain any advantage. He has no time to learn how to be a baron. Logan said that as an older brother, he wanted to give his younger brother a chance. He hopes that his father will wait until Damien reaches the right age. Patrick didn't expect Logan to be so attentive to him. He replied that he would accept his request and postpone the choice of an heir for 5 years, when Damien became an adult. Father said that of course, he would receive another reward as soon as they returned home. Their income from the war would be calculated. It would probably exceed 100,000 gold. After some time, Patrick and his army returned back to the kingdom, where they were warmly welcomed. People were surprised that they returned from the war after only a week. Some heard that it lasted 1 day. How is this possible? Were their knights always so strong? They said that it was thanks to the first young master Logan. According to the returning soldiers, the young master's mercenaries turned the tide of battle. They went around the enemy from behind, as if they knew in advance what would happen. Someone heard that they defeated them with a mysterious weapon. He was even able to single-handedly deal with a high-ranking knight. Some girl was surprised that the first gentleman was such a great man. It seemed to everyone that he was nothing but trouble. It is possible that he brought a lot of meat for a reason. Perhaps he came up with something. People got goosebumps from the fact that geniuses are completely different people. They are on a different level. Logan heard all these words. He felt awkward hearing such things. He told his brother that it only made him blush, and that Damien shouldn't overdo it either. Damien said that of course they were glad to see him. Logan needed to smile at them. The guy looked towards the residents, who were beaming with admiration, stars sparkling in their eyes. After that, Logan tried to smile, but as usual, he ended up with a sinister grin. Those people turned pale with fear, and after such a sight they stood with their mouths open. They didn't know what to make of that smile. They thought he was going to knock their heads off with his finger. Damien said that such a reaction was a failure. A moment later, Patrick announced the arrival of the heroes from the war, and the city's inhabitants immediately began to praise the victors, and their cries rose to the heavens. The welcoming ceremony lasted until the morning. As for people who had just returned from war, they had good stamina. While wandering around the castle grounds, Logan was called out by his stepmother. who asked him what he was up to. She said she heard he had refused the position of Patrick's heir. He might fool others, but not her. Damien immediately began to calm her down. He told Logan that she was very upset about the problem with her family. She was always unhappy with Logan. But after the betrayal of the comrade's house, she lost all her power. So he no longer has anything to fear from her. If Logan apologized now, she might accept it. After this, Logan began to tell his stepmother that he realized that his actions in recent months were not trustworthy, and he regretted that he was driven by envy and feelings of inferiority. The hero asked his brother to listen to him, because he was the one he should apologize to. He apologized to him after his return, but never said what for. It seems that the regrets and cowardly nature he has been cultivating for several years are difficult to overcome. Logan apologized to his brother for hating him all these years. He said he was trying to cover up his own incompetence with hatred, and now Logan sincerely regrets his behavior. He asked to be allowed to at least now formally apologize to him. The guy realized that good deeds cannot outweigh bad ones, no matter how hard you try. Damien said that everything was fine. He believed that as long as he was treated well, one day the brother he knew would return. Logan realized that he should have hesitated to do this earlier. He said that he sincerely cares about Damien and hopes that he will be the heir. He understands that he can't ask her to trust him right away, so he asks her to at least observe everything he does from now on. Once that conversation was over, Logan decided that was enough for now. A few days later, Logan was going somewhere with Jeff. The dwarf asked him where they were going immediately after the end of the war. Jeff said he was just concerned about it, and that he would squeeze every ounce of juice out of him again. Logan told him not to worry. He would definitely like the new task. But the dwarf was again indignant that the guy didn't know exactly what he liked. After some time, the heroes reached their destination. The guy told his subordinate that they would develop the mine. Not long before, Patrick asked his son if he really wanted the right to develop the mine. Even though it was a mountain, there was actually nothing there. And my father didn't understand why he chose it. Logan thought to himself that who knows, maybe there will be gold buried in it. The reason why the House of Peter started the feudal war became clear only a year after it ended. Peter mined gold from a mountain in the captured territory of Patrick's kingdom, and that alone made him far more influential than any other average duke, until Damien destroyed his family out of revenge. Then the events moved to the underground dungeon of his estate. James said that there is an underground prison of Peter's castle. There were unusual people in it, so he decided that Logan should take a look at it. There was some old man in the dungeon who said that they were simply mining gold from the mine, which is what they were hired for, and that evil Peter locked them there. Logan couldn't believe he had put 5 valuable mining experts in jail. The old man was very surprised by the hero's strange reaction. He did not understand what was going on. They won the war against Peter, but it was like riding a small wave. If the invasion of the empire that led to the collapse of the country is the last obstacle, then the event that will happen a year later will be the beginning of the death of the nation. This event is the death of the current king of the nation. His sudden death will lead to a conflict between 3 princes for the crown, followed by 3 years of civil war, which will significantly weaken the fighting power of the kingdom. In fact, this was the first reason that led to the collapse of the kingdom. House Logan is not a faction member, maintaining neutrality, which would allow them to remain simple observers. Logan plans to take advantage of the chaos to reclaim the lands that once belonged to them, and they will once again become the rulers of the Southwest. And if it works, it will stop the Civil War and move forward. All this time, Logan was called by Jeff. He asked him what he was thinking about in broad daylight. The guy didn't notice this. He thought that he needed to pull himself together. He had just overcome a catastrophe. For the sake of the future, he needed to quickly increase his combat power. But now this proposal would sound like nonsense. Logan is left to rely on his own money. This mountain will be his cash cow to fund his endeavors, Logan said. There is gold in the middle of the mountain. He wants them to mine it. He turned to his subordinates and asked how much all this would cost him. Jeff was unhappy again. He thought that this was another ridiculous task. The old man thought that Peter promised to pay a lot, so he immediately agreed. But he did not believe that Logan was telling the truth. He asked the guy how he knew that there was gold there. The guy replied that he saw everything with his own eyes. Hearing this, the old man was very shocked. His mouth opened wide. The hero said that for their information, this task is secret, so they will work in 6 people. The old man thought that he wanted to kill them. The old man was immediately surprised when he heard this. It was an exorbitant amount of work. He hoped that Jeff would support him, but he said that they could just prepare for death in advance. If they sleep less and give up normal human life, they will cope. Logan thought to himself that Jeff was already thinking like a servant, or rather like a worker. When the boy asked about payment, the old man replied that they first needed to get to the gold to determine the scale of the work. but 5 million would be good as a down payment. The gnome said that it would take a long time to develop the mine safely, with half a year just for preparation, and then another half a year to get it up and running at full capacity. Logan knew it would take a lot of money and time, but this gold made Peter richer than the other dukes. He needed to get it at any cost. If only he could sell the monster meat now, he would invest the proceeds into the mine. Then it dawned on Logan that if he removed the toxin from it, he could use it as a medicine right now. He used a neutralizing agent to do this when he was a mercenary, and Logan can do the same now. A week later, at Logan's house, Rick presented his master with his cloudy medicine, made from nightgrass, herbs from the plot, and Lika herbs. Logan said he asked not to call it cloudy. It's a neutralizing agent. The guy asked where the monster meat was, and Rick said it was in storage, just like he asked. When the hero said that they were going there to use the prepared remedy on him, Rick was very scared. Such a violent reaction irritated the hero. Why did he suddenly start fussing? Suddenly, Logan's nose became aware of a foul stench coming from the building. He knew it would smell, but the smell was nauseating. Rick was already throwing up. Logan used the force on himself and went inside. Rick, who had just puked, started asking him why he didn't feel sick. He said that he used power, and the servant called him selfish if he felt bad. Then Logan advised him to awaken his power. The guy said not to spare the medicine, let it all be in him. The black spots are poisonous, so you need to be careful with them. Then he ground the meat and made it into balls. These balls were like medicine. Logan said that they will sell it, Rick will create it, so he needs to remember how to do it. At first the boy refused, but when the young gentleman said that he would pay 1 gold piece for the pill, his conversation immediately changed. Rick asked him what these monster meatballs were for. Logan said it was for men's health, but the guy didn't understand what he meant. Rick said there was one person he could test it on. After some time, Dwayne arrived in Logan's office. He said that he was told that he wanted to see him. The man could not find the young gentleman, but at some point he found himself behind him and became very scared. Duyan immediately jumped away from him and said that he shouldn't jump out from behind him so suddenly. Logan said he just wanted to give him a shoulder massage. He's been really tired these days, dealing with all the stuff after the war. He said that things were going badly for them, because he had spent every last coin on the war. The servants and knights did not know about this and were asking for payment. Dwayne said that all this time he seemed to have misunderstood him. He didn't expect him to be so caring and even think about the manager. But when Logan said that this was the reason he had problems in bed, the man turned white with surprise. He immediately prepared to leave his chambers, but the hero tried to stop him and asked him to listen. He handed him a meatball and said that he wanted to give it to him. Logan said that this is a patented product from a merchant. The result is guaranteed after the first pill. Dwayne's face was not full of admiration. The guy said that as the first test subject, he would give it to her for free. After some time, Dwayne, out of breath, caught up with the young gentleman. Rick scolded him for running along the corridor. The minister started shouting and asking how much 1 pill cost. This was the reaction Logan was looking for. He broke into a sinister grin. He realized that he could make a good profit from this business. Logan asked Dwayne to give him his hand and he got down on one knee. Rick looked at the whole circus that was going on and was shocked. He couldn't believe that a grown, stately man was playing such games. After the first successful time, the men bowed their heads before Logan and the experiments continued further. Then the hero called the captain of the Order of Knights to him. He said that rumors had reached him that he and his wife had been having a lot of quarrels in recent days. As soon as the man tried to say something, Logan shut him up and told him to just swallow. The man immediately felt the effect. The guy sent him back home to his wife. He said he would talk to Patrick personally. With a proud expression on his face, the captain of the order went to his woman. The third subject was Patrick. Patrick was very confused, but said that the pills really worked and he was satisfied with the effect. In his mind, Logan apologized to Damien and said that he would have another brother. Suddenly, Rick came to his senses and asked the gentleman why he had offered to do it to everyone except him. He had worked harder than everyone else. Logan looked at his body and silently went about his business. Rick didn't like that look, and of course he asked about it. The hero said that he had no one to test the effect of the pill on, so he didn't need it. Rick tried to follow the young gentleman, but the boy drove him away and said that he stunk. After some time, Logan spoke to Philip through the magical sphere. He said that if the medicine
Okay.
works, there will be demand. The hero said
I'm
he
gonna
was
get
going
to
to sell them for
3,000 and then I'm
100
gonna take a
gold
break.
pieces, 1,000 for a set of 10. He replied that he didn't think aristocrats were fools. He just had confidence in his product. In his past life, it had been bought so often that the price had risen terribly. If Philip sells in limited quantities, he will be able to make more money. Philip said that this is logical if he is confident in the effect. Logan is convinced that the result will be excellent. It is enough for someone famous to try the pill and express his opinion. It must be someone who needs such a medicine. An aristocrat's conversation is always overheard by many people. Even if it is a secret, rumors will still spread, and other customers will flock to it like bees to honey. Hearing this, Philip invited the boy to go to a banquet in the capital of the kingdom. He only went to celebrate victories when he was a mercenary. His family didn't have money for banquets. Philip said it was easier to make connections this way, although it would take time to promote your business. As soon as Logan realized that by attending the banquet he would be able to sell a huge number of pills, he was stunned. Philip warned him that if he did this, his house would become an outcast if he did something like that in high society. Logan sent Philip to an informant in the capital to find out what they might need. He said that he would soon arrive in the capital. He would find out the details when he met him. After these words, Philip noticeably wilted, and a bad feeling came over him
What's
again.
going on?
A week later, Logan finally arrived in the capital to carry out his plan. Philip was surprised that it actually happened. He asked the young gentleman how he managed to obtain permission to distribute the aphrodisiac. Logan replied that he had not told anyone about it, although it was not easy to bring 3,000 boxes without a servant. Father agreed faster than he thought, apparently due to his success in the war. Philip noticed that when he first arrived, there were no servants with him either, and he asked if it was normal for the son of a noble house to move around like that. Logan replied that when servants were around, it was difficult to choose a route, not to mention that they had their own work to do. Of course, Rick worked the hardest in his past life. The guy also diligently served his family. He was truly grateful to him. Rick said that the servants say that he smells bad lately. They don't even go near him. Will he ever be able to get married? Logan decided that as a token of gratitude to Rick for doing such a great job, he would name the cure Emporic. Philip thought to himself that, without a doubt, his master was a madman. Philip said that the room was clearly a more appropriate place to discuss such a topic than a banquet hall full of ears. He asked Logan if he was really going to pay the informant 900 gold pieces for each document. The hero replied that he charges a lot, but he does quality work. If he had conveyed his words correctly, they would have the information they needed. Philip said he had told him everything word for word. Firstly, they need the names of aristocrats who have been married for the last 10 years, but have not had children. Secondly, the names of aristocrats who remarried or had mistresses. Thirdly, the names of aristocrats who eat food that increases stamina. Logan praised the guy for his efforts, and not only with this task, but with all that he gave him. Philip said that the real tragedy happened on the day when news of the war reached him. He cannot even imagine how worried he was until he learned that it ended that same evening. When he thought about the mountain of monster meat he would have to deal with, he lost all appetite. Logan ordered Philip to stop chatting and asked who on his list he thought would be suitable for their first client. The first client was Count Dave, who was surrounded by ladies at a banquet. Logan greeted him and introduced himself. He said that he was the eldest son of Baron Patrick from the southwest region. He was dressed very ridiculously, and the ladies, together with the Count, laughed at him to themselves. Logan thought to himself that he had put on what Philip had recommended, and as expected, no one had liked it. It was a great choice. He doesn't have time to make useless connections at a pointless banquet like this. Despite the fact that Count Dave is an important figure in the matter of preserving the grandee and married at the age of 20, as a man he is pitiful and still childless. Logan was surprised when Philip pointed out his name on the list, as he had become quite famous in his past life. After an incident between him and his wife, the insult his wife gave him at a banquet drove him to commit suicide. Reputation and the opinions of others were very important to him. He fit all three of the criteria Logan had given the informant, making him the ideal first-time buyer of the
Okay, 3,009. That's good. All right, got more to go. We just broke though. What am I at? 51 minutes. So that is 1,100 words in less than an hour. That's pretty solid. All right, take a break, go to the bathroom, get some more coffee, make it up. I gotta make a pot of coffee. And then come back, watch some more, write some more, and keep it going. 151 time. Another hour, two. Maybe we can get 4 hours today. We'll see. I would like to be done in under 4 hours and hit 5,000 words here. I want this to hit 5,000 words by the time I'm done. And however fast I get done is how long the stream will be. If I hit 4 hours, I'm done. I'm not gonna go any longer than that. But looks like that problem with Instagram. Oh well, whatever. Yeah, I want to get done before that. So if I can get 2K done in less than 2 hours, that would be solid. we'll see where we are at 4K. But I'm gonna go use the bathroom, do the things. Everybody else, you do it as well. Do your thing, and we'll be back. Where's the music I had here? No. Oh well, we'll leave this on for a minute. All right, back at 9 a.m. Back at 9 a.m. Probably before then, but that's what I'm gonna put. That's what I'm gonna put. I don't have two YouTubes. YouTube, weird. All right. Oh, this is the one I. Oops. This is the one I want. There it is. All right. Oh no, I'm gonna get a copyright. Oh no, copyright. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's go here. All right. We back. Where is? I'm not afraid of my head. I don't mind people. I'm like 44. I'm balding. It is what it is. It doesn't bother me. It's just cold here, so I got this hoodie on because it's fucking cold. Oh, I'm cussing. Yep. Oh. I could dig this. I could write this. Hey, man, that you got a subscriber, Panda Beats. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, I'll listen to that when I'm ready, but let's back to this and let's get to writing.
Logan told him that he
207,
wanted to meet him personally. The Count believes that since he came from the outskirts, many of the capital's goods shocked him. The guy replied that he was sure that there was nothing like his product here, so he was going to sell it. Logan began to slowly approach the man and said that this medicine was specially designed for men. He leaned towards his ear and said that his medicine increases sexual desire. Hearing this, Dave was very surprised. The Count was outraged by such behavior. The son of an aristocrat who sells such things is inappropriate.
Lay down,
In
buddy.
his mind, Dave was thinking that the guy didn't dare sell such things. Now he would be the one wallowing in humiliation. That's what you could read from the expression on his face. Logan replied that as a courtesy, he had brought a gift for an influential person in the capital and asked him to accept it. He presented his product, an emporium, which would be sold for 100 gold pieces. He put 3 of them as a gift especially for him. He said that this wonderful medicine has no side effects. He can swear on this on his honor as an aristocrat. A few days later, Dave's servant arrived at Logan's house and instructed him to purchase the drug Emporic. After some bargaining, the servant acquired everything he needed and went to his master. Philip saw him off and thanked him. The guy said they got 10 grand for 10 boxes, not bad for a first sale. Logan said they would earn even more. The rent for this tiny shop itself costs 10,000. This was expected. Because it is the center of the capital, Philip barely managed to negotiate the rent. He said they needed a place to live, and it would be more useful if people could come in and see the goods for themselves. At this time, the hero is going to a banquet. He goes there almost every day, and sometimes even twice. The guy replied that one client was not enough for him. He needed to advertise the product to as many people as possible. A week later, another servant of the rich Count sent him to buy some Emporic. The man said that no healthy food had such an effect on the Count. Suddenly, when he started to approach the store, he saw a huge queue when people lined up for medicine. At some point, he realized that there were even people he knew in this line. This could spread unnecessary rumors. He needs to quickly buy the medicine and leave. A moment later, Philip came out of the house and said that they had sold everything they had prepared for today. The servants were very frightened by such news. The guy apologized to them and said that the Emporic was very popular, but there was not enough supply, so they set a limit of 50 boxes a day. The men began to complain that if they returned to their owners empty-handed, they would be killed. Logan thought to himself that the restriction would encourage buyers, and that other people would see the crowd and be interested too. The next day, Philip again burst out of the store and announced the sale of goods, and this continued for several days in a row. The Count's servants were surprised that this was repeated several days in a row. Philip told his master that they had been fulfilling their sales plan every day for a whole month. Today, everything was sold out immediately after the opening, so they would be able to receive 4.5 million a month. Logan replied that it turned out that there were a lot of incapacitated men in the capital. They've tripled the price, and there are still people willing to pay more. Logan will soon start to worry about the future of their kingdom. A loud, ominous laugh erupted from the hero shop, frightening people passing by. Logan grabbed Philip and started praising him. He replied that it was thanks to his efforts. The guy said that starting next month, he would receive a percentage of the profits. Philip was incredibly happy with this news in his joy. He pounced on the gentleman with kisses. After some time, a loud scream came from behind some door. He screamed that there was at least 10 tons of gold annually. Logan talked to Jeff. He said that judging by what the miners were saying, there was a good chance that the gold nuggets were in deeper layers. In his mind, Logan was happy about things like he thought he had won the jackpot, a bigger lottery than he expected. But the prices for the extraction were not trivial, and the dwarf was not sure that he had the means to pay. Logan asked to wait for him, and his master would get him all the money and workers he needed in one moment. The guy was thinking to himself that the initial investment costs for developing the mine would be around 5 million. It's enough to sell it for 2 months to make a ton of money. He has about 700 boxes of emporic left, so he needs to go home and send more here, and then start developing the mine. Suddenly, the guy felt some kind of force from the store and immediately rushed to catch the robber. As soon as he burst into the building, he saw that there was no one there, but he still felt that they were still there. After that, he saw no one again. He realized that there was only one robber. When he looked up, he saw an unknown person standing on the roof, emitting a powerful aura. Logan was on the roof in an instant, but when he asked who the thief was, he immediately disappeared. There was no trace left of his presence, even though he had just been a hero. Logan couldn't understand what was happening. The next day, the hero told Philip about the theft, and he, of course, reacted violently to this. The guy said it was just a guess, but at the very least he was an advanced force user. It wasn't just that he felt that he had a high rank, he was obviously significantly different from him. Philip did not understand how an aura user could be a thief. The one who possessed it was capable of becoming an aristocrat from a servant. Would such a person stoop to robbery? Logan said that the man had stolen only 2 pills of emporic and that was all. The bespectacled man realized that he was not interested in the money, he took it for himself. Then Logan remembered the client list. He thought that there were aura users there, but Philip replied that he was asked for an additional fee because it was incredibly secret information. He refused. But suddenly the guy remembered one person. He is a childless aura user who lives in the capital. The next moment we are shown Count Ben walking around the city with his wife, who asks if he is looking at the children. The man said he liked the cityscape and asked her not to have stupid thoughts. When Ben suggested that his wife go home, the woman pressed herself against his back and said that she was very happy to have met him. The couple began to hug. The Baron also said that he loved her. Ben was the best swordsman in the kingdom, but he had a mark and regret in his heart. During the war, he suffered a groin injury, and because of this, he could not have children. As a young man, he didn't care about another honorable wound received while performing his knightly duty. But what was the point of being a duke, and the strongest on the continent without a child to inherit it all? When the couple returned to the estate, the woman asked her to stay with him if he didn't mind. Ben thought to himself after hearing this that there was no way he could repay her for the boundless love he received. After a while, Ben was walking with his assistant. He was talking about how the family meeting was about to start. Was he sure that there was no need to rush? The guy said that he would try to express himself carefully. He began to talk about how a very effective medicine had recently appeared in the capital. Apparently, it even heals physical wounds. He didn't know if the Baron would believe him, but there were a lot of reviews about his effectiveness. Ben had already tried this medicine after he stole it. He did not expect that he would decide to rob, even if he was troubled by his wife's tears. It was a disgrace for his students. Ben interrupted his servant and said that rumors should be treated with distrust. At this time, Logan stood at the gate of the estate and tried to get through the guards. The guard replied that he could not so easily get to the Baron's reception. Logan said that the gentleman would definitely want to accept him as soon as he heard his name. Not long before this, Philip was shocked by the young master's new plans. He told him not to tell that he planned to go to the strongest man in the kingdom and ask him if he was the one who robbed him. Logan is asking for trouble. He just needs to pretend like nothing happened. The hero thought to himself that Philip was right. But if that person really was the Duke, then such a chance could not be missed. After some time of waiting, Logan was looking forward to new royal-level connections. The guy introduced himself and analyzed the man in his mind. He said that he was about 70, but he looked much younger. It seemed that he slowed down the effect of aging with the help of aura. Ben did not understand why the son of a distant county had come to the capital for a personal audience with the Baron. Logan started talking about how he had recently opened a business in the capital, and so he decided to bring him his product as a gift. This is an amazing medicine for men's health. Its effectiveness has been proven by many aristocrats. As soon as the guy didn't see any reaction, he wasn't sure if he really was the thief, so he decided to approach it from a different angle. He said that such a thing would not suit a Superman like him. so he brought something special. At first, Ben showed no interest because the emporic had no effect on him. The poison in the monster meat used in the current version of the medicine has been neutralized for use as an aphrodisiac and to treat dysfunction. Logan presented the Count with a new limited edition item, which was in a box as a single copy. The guy called the version limited to himself because it concentrated the effect of 50 regular pills. He had a chance to try it on himself, so the effect can be safely guaranteed. The hero said that if he liked the effect of the pill, he should let him know. He would be more than willing to send him more. And of course he will take all measures to maintain confidentiality. The Count looked at the new pill with surprise. The next day, the Count arrived at Logan's shop in a great mood. He said that he was ready to do everything in his power for him. In his mind, the guy was incredibly happy that his plan had worked. But in reality, he pretended not to understand anything. Aura Master is a martial artist and a master of the Force using life energy. It is safe to say that Ben appreciated the effect of the medicine. And the medicine is not a one-time thing. After 30 uses, the effect will accumulate, and Ben will be completely cured. His prolonged melancholy and chest pain will come to an end. The Baron can't believe that he brought him a gift and didn't even mention his misdeed. That day, he saw his abilities for a swordsman. For a young man, it's not bad. He believes that he is the owner of this miraculous medicine. Ben told Logan that thanks to his gift, he had a chance to be cured of a lingering illness and was ready to repay him for it. The guy responded by asking him for a useful book on swordsmanship. After some time, the heroes moved to the Baron's home gallery, where he found a suitable book for him. He said the workouts described would make your body ache, but it was worth reading because it had some eccentric parts. When the boy received the gift, he asked the Baron for written proof that he had received the book consciously
Whoa!
and with the owner's consent. He felt sorry to take only the book from the Duke, although he was ready to give him anything. But his goal was completely different. The next moment, Ben said that he felt it was wrong and offered to personally teach him swordsmanship. He understands that he is modest and does not need much, but the Count is embarrassed to repay him with only a book. Logan thought to himself that even if he had the secrets of the divine sword, there was no need to refuse the offer of the strongest man in the kingdom. As the men gathered for their first training session, Ben said that judging the talent of remarkable young warriors was one of the joys of an old man. The Baron told him to concentrate and fight with all his might. Ben would not give in. As soon as he began to draw his sword, the guy was hit by the Count's powerful aura. The guy realized what the strongest aura user really is. He didn't know if all aura users were able to restrain their entire body using power like magic. If this is true, then all battles on the continent will be ended by aura users finishing off the rest. It must have been some kind of special ability, that was it. Every time you try to move, the Duke's power stimulates its activation. It dissipates the power he puts into the movement. Logan doesn't know how that's possible, but he does know how to counter it. Logan decided he had to react to the attack as quickly as possible. The Baron was happy that he was not mistaken. He recognized Logan as very talented. Ben concentrates the power that was overwhelming him into the tip of his sword. As soon as the Count was about to attack, a huge pillar of aura appeared in front of the hero, which really scared the guy. Even though the sword moves slowly, Logan still can't move. Logan doesn't understand what he can do without even understanding how it works. But suddenly he realized that his power itself counteracted the Duke's power. It neutralized the Duke's power. His intuition tells him that he won't be able to dodge this blow. When the boy activated the barrier of power, the Count was very surprised. He attacked the guy in an instant and knocked him into the wall. Logan flew into the wall at high speed and smashed it to pieces, after which he passed out. Ben asked him if he would teach him anything he could master. Towards the end, he unconsciously took the fight a little more seriously. He couldn't believe he was coming face to face with him. Some people are just destined to succeed in this world. After some time, the butler Ben told him that the Duke said to let him rest until he fully recovered. Logan can stay here. When the boy said that everything was fine with him, the butler offered to escort him to the exit of the estate. After leaving the area, the guy quickly began to move away. As soon as he disappeared around the corner of the wall, he twisted in pain and began to hold on to his organs. Logan said he couldn't use such an expensive potion on such wounds. He couldn't believe he gave him a superior quality potion that couldn't be found anywhere. Logan has developed strength recently, so he will be able to heal the wounds on his own, although it will be difficult, because they were inflicted by the Duke. In the end, Logan gave the guy a letter in which he described the coordinates of the communication channel of his estate. If the guy encounters difficulties while mastering the power of the blade, he can contact the Duke. Logan said to himself that who would have thought that his impression of him would be so good. Suddenly, Philip emerged from around the corner, frightening the hero, who immediately hid the letter in his bosom. He said that he was waiting for Logan nearby when he came out. For some reason, he looked very pale. Philip started shouting at him and asked if he had been rude to the Count, but the hero replied that he had only learned a little swordsmanship from him and suddenly began to spurt blood. He said he would prepare everything for the escape and find the fastest horse. Logan said he had misunderstood. After some time, Logan began to say that the total income from the sales of the Emporium was about 4,100,000 gold. The heroes immediately began to shout with happiness. They became rich in such a short time. Logan said that Philip was so happy that he didn't mind not getting a bonus this month. Philip asked him not to interfere with his fantasies. Then the guy remembered that he had established the process of purchasing monster meat in the capital, and the hero immediately praised him. He also asked him if he had thought about buying a house in the capital. Considering the living expenses, it would be profitable. Logan replied that it would be a year and a half at most. Until then, they needed to focus on the Emporica. Then Philip asked him to take care of his health so that the business would prosper. His coughing up blood horrified the guy. Philip asked him if he was really focused on recovery. When he came, he was always doing what he was doing at the table. Logan thought to himself that he liked the fact that he wasn't trying to find out more, even though he was grumbling. But Rick would have definitely gotten to the bottom of it if he were in his place. Logan said he was going to go home. Philip needed to calm the customers down until he sent over a new batch of Emporic. Every month he needs to send food rations worth 100,000 gold to his estate. Logan said they'll be doing this for a year, so they need to find a supplier. The guy didn't know that he valued his people so much. Suddenly it dawned on the hero, and he said that he was doing this because it was necessary. After all, only in a year will his family's chronic shortage of food supplies end. Even if he had the plains of St. Petersburg, because of his family's infertile lands, they would still go into the negative. Philip realized that his business was secret and he could not answer, since this happened. After some time, Logan met with a mysterious man. He said that it would be difficult to find the right people by several external signs, and that means he does not know where they live. They will have to search the entire continent. Logan told him to just say if they could handle it, he could pay them handsomely. He thought to himself that he knew it would be difficult to find them, because even the names he knew could be fake. But there is no other option. He must gather all independent superhumans at any cost. Those who have reached such a level in their past life and have not joined any organization. Suddenly, Logan no longer understood why he was in such a hurry. He was too anxious. Despite the fact that things were going well in the capital, then we are transported to some room where the elder was indignant that Logan was constantly chasing his followers. He apparently has no other workers. The guy tried to calm the elder down and said that things were going badly. Their people were sent to the countryside in the southwest. The elder doesn't like the head of the magic tower. He can't allow this. He decided that he had to resolve this issue as soon as possible. The next day, Logan came to the fourth circle of long-range earth magic spells, where he was greeted by a representative. He saw the hero and thought to himself that he thought he was an aristocrat, but his costume was too simple. The hero said that he needed a couple of magic scrolls. The guy thought to himself that Logan was going to buy a bunch of scrolls, which weren't all that different from each other. Logan showed the guy the user certificate issued by the bank. When he saw that it said 4 million, he was very surprised and opened his mouth in amazement. We were introduced to a fourth circle long-range earth magic spell. Depending on the mage's potential, this magic can even bring down a rock. But due to drawbacks such as the time it takes to activate and show signs of use, and the fact that it only works on rocks and dirt, it is generally not used in combat. But it is ideal for construction. Logan will be able to speed up the development of the mine, and at the same time solve other problems. The hero was met by the elder of the tower, who asked if he wanted to purchase 150 scrolls of destruction. He said that they hadn't had such a generous buyer for a long time. He even started to worry. Logan was surprised to himself that the head of the tower himself came running to him. He was the head of the tower in the 5th generation, but he behaved like that because of 1.5 million. Were things really going so badly for them? Logan told about his home and said that he would understand if the elder understood if he had not heard of it. The old man said that their intern had made a mistake. He would give him a severe reprimand. Logan said that was not necessary. The elder thought to himself that he had almost lost this simpleton because of the intern. In times of peace, earth magic is only used for farming or planting crops with trees. What aristocrat would waste expensive scrolls on such trivial things? In any case, it was great for him that this simpleton had now come to them. He needed to butter him up and shake off more money. The old man said that he should know that to create a scroll of the 4th circle, at least a magician with the 5th circle is required. When Logan asked what was wrong with that, the man said to himself that this was not the reaction he expected, and that it was still worth checking the waters again. He said that he knew that each scroll was expensive to create, so they couldn't have made them in advance. Logan replied that he wanted to buy 150 pieces a month. If he had difficulty handling such a quantity, he would simply contact the ruler's family's magic tower. As soon as the guy was about to leave, the old man fell at his feet and tried to stop him. The hero added that in 6 months he would ultimately need 900 scrolls. The old man was delighted with such a good deal, but when the guy said that since it was difficult for them to make 150 scrolls, they would not last 6 months, the dream immediately shattered. The head of the tower grabbed Logan's leg and began to examine his shoes. They were dirty. The old man said that the scrolls of the fourth circle were worth 10,000 gold each. 150 will cost 1.5 million, and in 6 months the amount will be 9 million. He said the price was very attractive, but suggested finding a mage instead of buying the scrolls. Logan thought to himself that detached mages hated doing dirty work, so they usually sold scrolls. But he would lend him a mage, which would cost even more. A fourth circle mage would be as effective as 300 scrolls. The old man said that it seemed they didn't understand each other. Even he couldn't give orders to a magician of that level. Instead, he can provide 9 magicians with the second circle, and 1 with the third. They are students who have been working as a team on various construction sites for a long time. Logan noted that this sounded good. The construction was taking a long time, so this would be even better. After some time, a huge number of student mages arrived to meet Logan, looking very distraught. The elder said that since they had greeted each other, they could go, but he didn't say a word about their condition. As soon as the apprentice magicians left, Logan immediately started yelling at him and said that they looked like they were about to die. The old man said that regardless of their appearance, they were young employees with the most experience. They actually seemed reliable when Logan took a quick look at them with his senses, and there were some second circle mages and 1 third circle mage among them. And yet, why did he agree to send his students to the countryside? Logan suspected something was wrong. It was worth checking. The hero said that compared to the scrolls of the fourth circle, the proposal to reduce their number and provide second circle mages is not a fair exchange. Logan offered for 120 scrolls and 10 mages. He will pay 1,200,000. This is a damn low price. Considering the talent of these magicians, no one will send normal magicians for such a price. Gritting his teeth, the old man handed the guy a contract for hiring magicians. Logan couldn't believe it, and he still didn't know when he had time to prepare the contract. Suddenly, the head of these magicians burst into the room, who heard everything. He needed to immediately talk to the head of the tower. His students tried to stop the master, but he was adamant. The guys were very scared. Hank heard that the tower leader wanted to send their students to the countryside without any support. The old man replied that it was necessary for the good of the tower. His followers were the most talented, and so he asked why only they were doing such difficult work. Not just anyone, but children who had just returned from work. The old man said that young people don't care about any work. It's necessary for the good of the tower and for themselves. Hank said he didn't think he knew he was oppressing them ever since he received the fifth circle and became an elder last year. Logan looked at them and thought about how this man had received the fifth circle at a relatively early age and had become an elder. The head of the tower is frightened by this, but not being able to conflict with the elder, he takes it out on his followers. The internal conflict in the tower will play into Logan's hands. He can't believe that he received such a lucrative contract. The elder said that if he did not want to obey the orders of the tower, then he did not care. They could leave with their followers. Hank was very angry at these words. He was filled with a powerful aura that burst out from his body. The old man also got angry. He tore out from his body a force of the same power that could resist the elder. The atmosphere in the room was tense. There was tension in the air that put pressure on everything in the space. Hank's followers tried to stop the chief, but because of fear they could not do anything. He told the old man to prepare for a fight. Suddenly, at some point, they turned to Logan and saw him standing over the contract and signing something. With a sinister grin, Logan handed the signed contract to the heads. With his action, he interrupted the conflict that was building up between the men, and everyone immediately calmed down. Logan said that he was taking 10 mages, and wanted to leave the men to sort things out themselves. The contract would remain valid even if the head of the tower changed. The head of the tower said that they had shown themselves to their guest in a worthless manner. He was going to send them the scrolls as soon as they were ready. When Hank said he wanted to break the contract with the Earth Magic Tower, he reminded him where his place was. Hank replied that since he was behaving like this, he would leave with his followers. The chief asked him if since he was an elder he couldn't waste time in the countryside, and Logan said that he had never hired a fifth circle mage. Hank replied that he would not ask for payment. He would simply help his guys get the job done faster. The hero bowed low for such help. He only asked to postpone the trip for a day. His followers needed to rest before leaving. The next day, Logan stood at the main gate and thought that yesterday's contract was an unexpected stroke of luck. Hiring one fifth circle mage would have cost $1 million. He dreamed of getting home as quickly as possible, and from there he would immediately send the Imperial to the store. Suddenly, from a passing carriage, Logan saw Maria, who was heading somewhere. She said that they had not seen each other for a long time. She said that they say that a rather shameful business has opened in the capital. Could it be that Logan's house has started having problems? The guy told her that she should know how ambitious he was about money. She didn't have to worry about anything. Maria replied that the amount she gave him was not small, and it was difficult to realize it if you lived on barren lands. She heard about his great contribution during the feudal war. He used a special weapon. Then the girl said that she had a proposal. She wanted to buy his product. Logan replied that it was nothing special, and that he felt awkward refusing her, but he would have to. After this was said, the hero immediately rushed away, and the girl was very unhappy about this. The boy thought to himself that even after he became famous for selling the Emporic, none of the aristocrats showed interest in the War of the Feuds. However, Maria and most likely her entire family became interested, and quite quickly. The crossbows are simple in design, so he hopes he'll be able to use them a few more times. Suddenly, Hank and his students stood in Logan's way. He said that he clearly remembered that they agreed to meet at the Western Gate, so it was not clear why he was here. The hero replied that he had simply escaped from someone annoying, and that they needed to hit the road. Soon they set off, and he thought to himself that 3 large carriages were enough to carry 5 or 6 people in each, and the coachmen were experienced. Hank said that it wasn't worth the trouble. He had wasted a lot of money. Logan realized that this was not the first time he had encountered a very proud mage. He volunteered to go for free, so it would be easy to sweet-talk him. The guy said that he had wonderful magicians with him, so what he did was completely natural. Already in the evening, Logan ordered the crew to stop, and they were going to spend the night in this forest. Logan settled down near a random tree and meditated. At some point, a dagger flew at him, which he successfully dodged. They were some mercenaries. One of them said he couldn't believe he dodged. Very impressive for a young man. He heard rumors about Logan in the capital. He made a lot of money selling some medicine. These mercenaries were apparently thieves. They immediately surrounded the hero. Logan said he wanted to try out what he had learned earlier by meditating in a calm environment. But since they interrupted him, the guy will practice his new technique on them. The next moment, Logan rushed towards one of the mercenaries and slit his throat, causing him to immediately fall to the ground. The guys didn't see how he attacked. They were immediately struck by some unusual fear. The wounded guy fell to the ground and suffered from a cut throat. Another killer tried to attack Logan. He lunged at him with his weapon, but his attack was unsuccessful. The guy immediately received a blow to his body from a sword, which hit the body. From such a blow, he flew into the nearest tree and smashed the tree to pieces. When the boys were about to leave, their bodies were gripped by animal terror. Their legs did not obey their masters. They were unable to escape. Suddenly, Ben's silhouette appeared behind the hero, which was created using the hero's power. He filled his sword with power and attacked several people at once. Logan realized that it was quite difficult to maintain the power in the sword. The concentration and compression of force through a new source creates an aura. That day, along with the pressure blade, the Duke showed him a power blade that was at a weaker aura level, but he thought it was too early for him to try to replicate it. Logan couldn't believe he was able to use the force blade even for a moment. He was incredibly happy. Then he noticed the remaining guy who was hiding in the bushes. He was still unable to move and run away. Using the power emanating from the sword to forcibly disperse and overpower the enemy is characteristic of the pressure blade. Logan said it was good enough to be used in real combat. When the guy finished his business, Hank came out from behind the trees and said that he saw everything. The hero thought that he was incredibly angry because he considered his attitude towards the thieves too cruel. If he refused to cooperate, he would have a little trouble. The elder acknowledged the boy's strength and said that his abilities were incredible for such a young age. He said he knew little about force users, but what he had seen was enough to understand how unusual it was that he was capable of such a thing at his age. Logan replied that it made him blush, but to himself he thought that despite his appearance, he wasn't angry. He had deliberately moved away from the camp to avoid being discovered by those who were not his allies, and it seemed he had come all this way in search of him. Hank said that his followers were having a hard time because they didn't get the best teacher. So while they were together, he wanted to take up their training. Once they arrive on site and start working, he wants them to have breaks between shifts to do some training. In return, he offered to do the work himself, and Logan immediately agreed. The Elder is emitting mana, which comes from the earth. It is heading somewhere. This mana is heading towards the tent of the young mages. Logan didn't understand why he was going so far that he even started to sweat. Logan noted that he values his followers greatly and cares for them very much. He replied that since he called himself a teacher, he should at least teach them the basics of magic. When Logan arrived at the estate, he immediately went to his father. He told him that his journey had done him good. Patrick then asked him if he had anything he could report. The guy told about his business in the capital. Patrick was shocked that his son was doing business while he was in the capital. He said that he started selling the medicine that he had given him before. Patrick was scared that Logan had come all the way to the capital and started a business there selling a sex enhancer. He said that next time, he should at least think about the reputation and dignity of his house. Logan was surprised that he took the news better than he expected. He already felt his reputation being restored. He also said that he had the chance to meet the Duke of the Sword and establish contact with him. The owner of the estate immediately jumped up from his chair. When he heard that his son was selling a sex enhancer to the strongest man in the kingdom, he began to shout at him furiously. Logan told him that in return, Ben gave him a pretty good secret mid-level sword technique. Patrick couldn't believe that he actually gave him a full-fledged sword book. It was a lie. Logan wrote it himself while he was at the Duke's estate. An imperial merchant found it in some ruins. It described a mid-level sword technique. At first, the merchant copied the book and sold several copies, but their contents leaked to the masses and began to wander around the market, and soon the technology became public property. But this event should happen in 10 years. If their knights learn the technique, the power of the house will increase. Logan thought to himself that he should add the sword energy and the secrets of the divine sword, so that his father and Damien would have an ace in their hands. However, the Ironblood sword technique accelerates the force, which can cause damage to the insides during training. Father would not allow this. So the Duke of the Sword's involvement will make him change his mind. Patrick thought to himself that these recordings were an order of magnitude better than what they had. Their level was significantly higher. The reality was that it was difficult for aristocrats to obtain decent sword techniques. For a time he even thought that because of this, he had not made any progress for 10 years. He then told his son that once their knights mastered it, the average level of the entire order would increase by 30%. He didn't know how they could repay the Duke for his kindness. Suddenly, his father said that he had to take possession of her himself. To at least repay her in this way, Logan did not expect such a decision. The Duke said that mastering this technique was his priority and ordered his son to do chores around the house. The next moment, the hero realized that he now held in his hands the family seal, on which all decisions made depended. Patrick ordered him to help Dwayne with solving the issues. He will return as soon as he masters the technique. After this, the guy realized that since he had the house seal in his hands, his permission was no longer required. Suddenly, Dwayne bursts into the office, saying that he had heard about his successes in the capital. He asked to help the family with money. Logan answered him that he was supposed to get the money after winning the war, and why was he barging in there as if it were his own room? The minister said that the amount was not enough to maintain the two fortresses. Because of the war, their workforce had decreased. This year there would be much less food. Even his son-in-law had stopped helping. He heard that his journey had been quite successful, and after saying this, Dwayne knelt down. Logan answered him that he had already spent all the money he had earned. But the man didn't believe it. He had earned several million. How did he manage to spend so much in such a short time? The hero replied that 1,200,000 for the scrolls of the magicians. He also bought building materials and food to support their people. He had nothing left. He said that a little food would not affect the well-being of the people. He spent 1 million gold on it. Food worth 1 million will be delivered to their people every month throughout the year. Hearing this, Dwayne started cursing. This was an expected reaction. His opinion of him did not change much after Logan became a war hero. The guy said he was sane and that should be enough to feed people. 2 weeks later, the civilians received an announcement that they had to report for work, and while the civilians were expecting this, the aristocrats began to exploit them to the fullest. At another fortress, the people were also indignant. They barely managed to leave the battlefield alive, and now the feudal lord is trying to finish them off himself. They have to make a choice, either die during the escape or work or die of hunger. They had no choice but to take matters into their own hands and attack the feudal lord. After some time, the people gathered at the gates of the fortress. They were armed with whatever they could find. They talked about how the feudal lords were driving them around like dogs, feeding them grass for dinner, while they themselves were living happily ever after. With so many people, they doubted that it was even worthwhile to start a fight with the aristocrats. In the end, they decided it was better to take advantage of the opportunity and get all the aristocrats out of there. A few moments later, the gates opened and guards appeared from there on their horses. The squad leader ordered everyone else to get ready for the distribution. People didn't believe it. They knew very well what these aristocrats were like. One of the guards approached the Duke's most ardent opponent and said that, by order of young Master Logan, all those who participate in the work will receive a month's supply of grain for the entire family. They said they would start distributing it now. Everyone had to get in line. People couldn't believe it all. As soon as the old man received his supply, he began to praise Logan and cry. Everyone else followed his example and began to praise him. Dwayne didn't know if he should give a forced order to gather everyone in front of the fortress. Logan could just ask them to come. The guy replied that then not even a fourth would have shown up. They don't trust aristocrats. Aristocrats consider their people as property, and those who have feelings fulfill their duty to protect them. But having lived as a mercenary in his past life, Logan realized that for the common people, the only difference between bad aristocrats and good ones is who takes more from them. Logan said that even his father thinks more of knights than men, as he considers them the strength of a nation. Despite the budget shortfall, he retained a knightly order of 50 members. Logan forced them to come and see for themselves how he treated them, so they could be sure. The guy noticed how the minister was looking at him strangely, and asked him about it. The man replied that he still couldn't get used to the changes in the young gentleman's behavior. The hero told him not to be stupid. As long as he trusted him, he would be able to advance in construction. Dwayne asked the gentleman to think again why he should spend $2 million on this venture. When Logan got to his charges and told them about his plans, Jeff and Hank were very surprised by this. Jeff asked him if it was necessary to then let water from the river in there and even build a lock. Logan began to explain to them that his family's territory was surrounded by mountains and wastelands on all sides. They had barren lands. Even the low mountains in the north block the river from flowing south. So they will drill a huge hole in the northern wild mountains so that the river water will pass through them. Jeff said it would have been more convincing to tell them to dig a tunnel under the mountain. Logan told him that they would make a tunnel 30 meters in diameter, with an exit directly to the river at ground level, which would serve as a lock. He thought to himself that in fact this method of water control will become popular in the Empire in 20 years. Logan does not know the principle of operation, but with him, the Dwarf Master and the Magician of the Fifth Circle, if they cope, then they will turn the wasteland in the west of their territory into an arable plain. Jeff said that you have to be careful about where you're going. The condition of the land is important, and you also have to consider the water levels and canals. To prevent the tunnel from collapsing, the structure must be in the shape of an arch, and the help of magicians will also be required. Hank told him that he had said all this out loud, and was surprised that it was actually possible to implement. The dwarf added that he already had a lot of work to do, and that they had only just started digging. The hero replied that that was why he had prepared magic scrolls and magicians. Jeff guessed that something was wrong, since he treated him to delicious food just like that. The events then shift to the mountain, where Hank was gathering his strength to deal with the digging of the tunnel. The other workers looked at all this and were afraid that they might be caught by the blast wave and shrapnel. The dwarf shouted to him that if he was ready to start work, then he could begin. As soon as the magician used his explosive spell, fragments from the stone mountain began to fall from the sky, and the workers began to scatter. Jeff shouted at him that he had already asked him to be more careful. Why demonstrate his strength here like that? In addition to strength, people can master such supernatural energy as mana. In his past life, Logan could only barely feel it, but now he clearly feels it. The power of the earth emanates from the mana circle in his heart, repeatedly drawing the same intricate patterns that stimulate the stone wall. Logan can't believe what he's seeing with his own eyes. The power core has enhanced his senses. Hank told him to watch carefully. He wasn't finished yet. The Elder was about to use another spell. The man used an ability that collects a huge amount of stones and turns them into something unimaginable. In front of Logan stood a huge stone golem, summoned by Hank, created with the help of mana and stones. The guy said it was amazing that you could create a golem of that size without tools. He thought to himself that if he could make a couple more, they would not only complete the construction faster, but also possibly increase their combat power. The hero approached the Elder, and taking him by the hands, with paint on his face, asked how many golems he could summon. Hank said that his students can do this too. They have their own school for creating golems in the magical Tower of the Earth. But there was a problem. The spell formula for creating a golem core was only available from the Fifth Circle, so the students would need mana stones. But even then, they would only get very small and weak golems. Mana stone is a mineral like orichalcum and mithril that is imbued with natural mana energy, making it rare. It cannot be created artificially. It is quite expensive, since it is more often used to assist in spells or in the creation of artifacts. Mana stones are not economically viable. But during a war, money is not important. If you can win it by spending a little money, then it will be good. Hank said that his golem becomes stronger with mana stones. Its speed and strength will increase, and it will last longer. But of course, since it is the 5th circle, it will require a mana stone of the highest quality. Even for the spell of creating a 2nd circle golem, a low-level stone is perfect. It can last for 24 hours, being several times stronger than a common person. Logan thought to himself that a low-level mana stone was worth as much as a piece of gold. The cost-benefit ratio was too bad. But for a short war like the last one, it was extremely useful. After some time, Dwayne also met the stone golem. He was very scared as soon as he saw it. Logan at this time told him that he had already said that he was not destroying, but digging a tunnel. After hearing this, the minister suddenly jumped up and rushed back to the castle. He said that he had to report everything to Patrick. The hero told Jeff to take all the workers to the water channel. There was no point in leaving them to make a tunnel. After this, the gnome turned to the workers and told them to stop being afraid. They needed to collect their tools and go to him. They make 3 structures. The first is a tunnel and a dam. The second is a water channel that will deliver water from the river to every corner of the wasteland. The third is a cave. After returning from the capital, Logan was busy building the dam, so he couldn't follow the development of the cave. He needs to go and see tomorrow. The next day, the work continued actively. People entered and left the cave one after another. Logan turned to the dwarf and asked if they had met before. Jeff did not understand what he meant. He asked whose fault it was that he had to run back and forth from the mine to the water channel. Jeff finally snapped. He threw down his pickaxe and said he couldn't work anymore. He asked to be killed. He fell to the ground and began to ask for rest, whether the work would stop if the gnome was not nearby. Why should he alone carry everything on himself? After a few moments, Logan tried to calm him down. He said that he understood every word he said. He was doing a great job. That's why he would be doing all the organizational work from now on. He should use this opportunity to report to him on the progress of the work. The gnome now took it out on his master. He told him that he was trying to dump all the responsibilities on him, and yet he saw through Logan. But when it's all over, he promises that when everything is ready, he will be able to rest as much as he wants. They held each other's pinkies and sealed the promise, Logan grabbing his finger so hard he almost broke it. Logan was very pleased with his behavior and left proud of himself. Now the mine will be developed faster than in the previous life. He is not sure about the dam, but wants to believe that everything will work out. That same evening, Logan talked to Philip, who told him that the building materials would be delivered without any problems. They also easily came to an agreement regarding lumber worth 100,000 gold per month. Philip said that when they developed the mine and cleared the land, the area would be completely transformed. The guy said that he wanted to visit his estate someday. The hero replied that he could visit him in a year, but Logan did not answer why exactly that time frame. Suddenly, Logan said that there was a rumor that the ruling family had a problem. He heard about it in the house of the Duke of the Sword. He doesn't know the details, but it seems to be a serious matter. The guy told his assistant to try to scout out the situation while he was busy with business. According to the memories from the past life, next winter the king will suddenly die, and a civil war will begin. If the death is really sudden, then everything will happen as in the past life, otherwise the time frame will change. As with the feudal war, he cannot change the timing of the civil war, since he does not know the reason, but he can prepare in advance. Logan ordered Philip to put money aside for a reserve fund and buy as many weapons and armor as he could, enough to arm 1,500 men. Philip said that this was not a trifling request. He thought that Logan's family had no more than 100 knights. When the hero said that this was not for knights but for soldiers, he began to shout that no one in war equips soldiers completely. It may seem strange, but in the last war, many of their people died. Because of this, the productivity of farmers dropped sharply. They need to minimize conscription and strengthen their knights and regular soldiers. Arming vulnerable soldiers is part of Logan's plan. Their wealth will be supported by the mine, their food by the construction of the dam, their soldiers by weapons. After some time, Dwayne forced the young gentleman to deal with government affairs. He was very exhausted by such a large amount of paper. Dwayne began to scold him for signing them without even looking into the contents. How could he be so careless? Logan said he had never seen his father spend so much time working on the estate and dealing with his issues. The minister said that no one saw it because he dealt with most of it. He said that as the heir, he must fully understand what issues require attention. Suddenly, at some point, James burst into Logan's office and said that he had urgent business. He told about Jeff being trapped in a collapsed mine shaft. Logan asked about the extent of the damage and if he had found Jeff's location. James replied that about 50 meters of the tunnel had collapsed, so it was impossible to determine exactly. The hero said that there was no time to waste. They had to get to the mine as soon as possible and save the gnome. After being ignored for so long, Dwayne lost his temper and started yelling at them and asking where they got the mine from. In a short time, Logan reached the mine, where he was met by workers and asked where the collapsed tunnel was. When he got off his horse, he immediately rushed into the mine, rushing past the workers telling him. It was very dark in the cave. To improve his vision, Logan used the enhancement on his vision. After a short dig, he reached the rubble and asked everyone to step back to see how things were going with Jeff. Using his sixth sense, he scanned the area behind the stone and saw everything. He said Jeff and about 10 workers escaped the worst, but were hurt. The old man in charge of the excavations said that it would take 3 days to clear away all the fallen rocks if all went well. Logan thought to himself that even the strongest dwarf wouldn't survive under the rubble with injuries. The more time passes, the less chance they have of surviving. Logan decided that he needed to save them as soon as possible. The hero decided that the only chance to save them was Hank and his students. The guy gathered them all together and was going to tell them why. He said that they needed to rescue Jeff and the workers who were stuck in the mine. As a reward, he will give them generous compensation. Hank was surprised that there was a mine in the mountain. He realized that the gnome was busy because he was scurrying between the cave and the dam, which was not surprising. The elder agreed, because the people needed help. Logan thanked them and said that he would definitely pay for the service. Hank thought to himself that he couldn't understand why he brought the magical scrolls of destruction and didn't use them. So it turned out that it happened in the mine. Since he kept it a secret, it means it was quite a valuable place. And yet he told him about it in order to save the servant and a couple of workers. After some time, the man and his students reached the crash site and were going to use magic to rescue them. He said that he would hold the tunnel and his students should use golems to clear the rocks. Logan saw that the magicians were using magic stones to summon golems and were casting some spells. The ordinary workers were frightened when the mages created so many stone golems. To himself, Logan couldn't believe that they had cleared several meters just by creating golems. Hank was surprised that the aristocrat himself was carrying stones to save those of lower rank. He would never have believed it if he hadn't seen it with his own eyes. After a short excavation, the gnome was finally found, and all the others were also saved. They lost consciousness due to shock. They were lucky that their injuries were minimal. When he saw his gnome friend, it was as if a weight of responsibility fell from his soul. After some time, when Jeff came to his senses, he said that he lost consciousness when he used the scroll of destruction. Lately, he'd been working too much. The gnome reassured his master and said that soon everyone would recover and work off everything that was lost. Logan told him that he just needed to rest and not think about anything until he was completely recovered. Jeff was surprised by his words. Before that, he had been begging for a rest for so long, and now the guy so easily sent him to rest. In that case, he decided that he should have a full rest. For the entire time he worked without days off. Logan thought to himself that magic was an amazing thing. With its help, they completed the rescue operation in 2 hours. The boy's thoughts were interrupted by Hank, who noted his amazing shaft as soon as the hero left the dwarf's restroom. Logan only thought about the fact that the mage found out about the mine's gold. He decided that there would be a lot of problems if others found out about it. The elder asked him why he had gone so far as to reveal the existence of the hidden mine to him, and asked for his help. The guy was surprised by this question, and in his thoughts he answered that he did it because no one could replace Jeff. It was
All right, what are we at? Oh, 2 hours, 53 minutes. Not bad. 4,000 words. Yeah, 947. Pretty good, I think. 4161. 900 to go. 839 to go. I think I could be done with that by less than 4 hours. All right, all right, all right. All right, 47 minutes is not bad to do that. To get over 1,000 words. All right. I'm gonna put some music back on, then I'm gonna go to the bathroom and come back and chill out, finish up, and call it a day. Yeah. Oh, I need to do something real quick. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. Somebody hacked my X account. So I've been having to Are you drinking my coffee, cat? Okay. So I tried to log into X, can't do it. Somebody messed up my shoot. Well, anyway, we'll put the music on. I'll be back in a little bit. Let's see, 9:49. We'll say 11:05. Back at 11:05, and we'll finish up. I am. What are you doing, cat? At 4160. 4161. So 5,000 soon. We'll hit that today. All right, let me see if I got this email. Not yet. Hey, here's a tip for the day. Make sure you do two-factor authentication so nobody can steal your your stuff. All right, I'll be back. Let's see. Back. see something. Okay, that's what it was. What's this crazy music? Ah. This one's good too. There we go. Alright. Okay, that's done. Hi, cat. Okay. Why don't you lay down, cat? Alright.
It was better to take the risk and save him. Without Jeff, the development of the mine would slow down, which...
Okie doke. We're waiting on that. I'm gonna listen to this. 9:58. It's warming up a little bit. It's still cold, but it's warming up a little bit. So 800 and something to go. Let's do it. Knock it out.
would affect future plans. Finally, the hero replied that if he was unable to protect his people himself, then no one would remain next to him. After hearing this answer, the magician asked him if he would like to establish a magic tower on his territory. He decided it was time for him to open his own business. This place seemed like it could support a small magic tower. Logan was fired up by the idea. He said it was a great idea, his cheeks burning red. When the boy asked if his students would move with him to this field and how much support would be needed, the man replied that of course they would stay with him. Hank said that as support, he would only need to provide him and his students with everything they needed. All this time, Jeff was standing behind Logan, who was shocked by the owner's new plans. He asked him if he had hit his head too. A week later, the gnome was fully recovered and ready to rebuild the tunnel. He said he would try to make up for the delay. Logan agreed with his decision and wished him luck. When the dwarf left to return to work, Dwayne came into the guy's office and demanded to tell him about the built mine. The minister began to question him about when he secretly began to develop it and why he did not tell him anything. He asked why he had hidden this mine so carefully, whether there was ore there and how much of it there was. Logan replied with pride that there was gold in the mine, and Dwayne did not believe his words. The guy said that according to calculations, it would bring in 100 million gold a year. Would he lie about that? The minister fainted from the huge amount of gold. His shock was accompanied by joy. Logan told him that he could not kick the bucket now. After the dam was built, Logan again called the workers who had taken part in the construction. The people were unhappy. One of the workers said that the construction was supposed to be completed in 6 months, but they finished it in 3 months. Once everyone was assembled, people started asking Dwayne if he knew the details. One of the men said that it was a useless and grandiose digging, as if bringing water from the Luthra and its effect on this wasteland would change
Hey, you.
anything. People tried again to get more details from Dwayne, but the man
He's
stood in a
attacking the
stupor
screen.
and could
My
not come to his
cursor.
senses. To
Right.
himself, he thought that this dam would not only irrigate the wastelands with water, it was directly connected to the underground part of the Luthra. If the canals can be supplied with water on a regular basis, the wasteland can become a real fertile land. Everyone from workers to magicians took part in the construction, and even managers came. Jeff asked Hank if it was really necessary to open the dam. They had everything set up. The workers could open and close the dam themselves. Logan said that the first time should be grand and memorable. They will show everyone on the family territory what exactly they created with their own hands. When people saw the stone monsters, they were very surprised. But the workers were already accustomed to such a sight. These giants took part in the construction. One of the servants of Logan's house was embarrassed by his surprise and said that he had seen such magic quite often. A moment later, Hank ordered the golems to open the gates, but at some point they just froze. No one understood what was happening. The elder got angry at the gnome and asked what he was doing. Jeff replied that he had definitely ordered them to open them. He didn't know what was going on. Logan thought to himself that the golem's power was actually just for show, but in reality it would take about 100 workers to deal with them. But this was not part of the plan. The guy didn't know what to do. He was confused. Hank began to scold Jeff. He said that if the reputation of his golems was tarnished, he would regret it. The dwarf made excuses about it. Then, Logan ordered his subordinates to break down the gates. After some time, they would build new ones, so there was no need to worry. The magician obeyed the hero, and at his command, the golems began to destroy the stone wall behind which the water was hidden. After some time of destruction, the monsters finally destroyed the dam, and a stream of water gushed out of it, knocking them down. People were incredibly happy that their land finally had water. Logan was incredibly proud of his creation. The people rejoiced that they brought water to these lands with their own hands. He thought to himself that now the food problem during the Civil War was solved. There was no need to rush into recovery. Next spring, he would take up farming. Suddenly, a tearful Dwayne, who praised the hero, attacked the guy. He said that he was wrong and apologized. After that, Logan asked him why a big man like him was crying. Jeff looked at all this and was very unhappy. He was thinking about how long it would take to recover, but Hank said that he would help him. Then Logan approached them and said that they didn't need the gate urgently, so the workers could rest for a week, after which they would finish work in the mine and have another long weekend ahead of them. The gnome was very happy to hear this, and a small blush appeared on his face. Logan thought to himself that many farmers would come to work the fertile lands, but it would be difficult for them to travel there from the city every day. So the guy decided to build a new village where farmers would settle. Logan tried to address Jeff normally, but when he remembered who he was, he began to provoke him, saying that in his opinion, even he had a hard time with construction. The gnome was indignant. He said that the creation of the weapon was supposed to prove to him that the gnomes were the best in this field. Logan was glad that his provocation had worked. Jeff said he could praise him, but he wouldn't give him anything, and asked why he suddenly started talking about construction. The hero said that the gnome could rejoice for now, because soon he would have the frightening experience of building houses. As they gathered to open the floodgates, Logan made two promises to the workers. First, that anyone could work on the flatlands. Secondly, they will receive tenant rights in accordance with their employment. The tax will be only 30%. If Logan announced this, even the vassals would not object. After 4 weeks, Logan received the city plans and house models. He knew he had chosen the right gnome. He didn't expect him to take on the job when he came to him a couple of weeks ago. The roads will intersect and the distance between houses will remain the same. Each section will have common wells and toilets, outside the sewer system, to dispose of waste. Logan described the layout of the city he saw in his past life as accurately as possible, and now they will be able to successfully establish the largest settlement. Suddenly, the guy turned to Rick and asked why he smelled so bad. He replied that it was all because of him. If it weren't for it, he wouldn't have to suffer so much, which is why the medicine is in great demand. After he left, Dwayne burst into the office and said that Jeff had just sent a message that they could start developing the gold mine. After some time, the dwarf showed the two of them gold nuggets. He said that usually they have to be extracted in small quantities from minerals, but they had already found such specimens. Logan and the minister began to praise him. They were glad that they had come across such a lucky guy like him. Jeff said that they would receive about a ton per month. Even by a conservative estimate, the mine would last for 10 years. The hero answered him that they had just started building the city. More crossbows would be needed, and the knights also needed new weapons. The guy was thinking to himself that they still had a lot of work to do. Jeff really should rest. He thought that he really should hire another gnome later. The guy decided to please his subordinate, and as soon as he heard that he could rest for a whole month, he immediately rushed off to sleep for the whole month. Logan was surprised that his strength had awakened so quickly. He was very fast despite his short legs. At this time, Dwayne was roaring with happiness. When he realized that they would receive a ton of gold per month, he cried even harder. He said that they were saved. They wouldn't have to worry about anything anymore. Logan thought to himself that the minister was crying harder than when the dam was opened. Logan said the mine was his, but when Dwayne looked at him angrily, the guy said he was going to give him 30%. Then the man got down on one knee and said that he believed in him, believed that he could handle everything. After all, the dam project had been a success. All his decisions had been right so far. The hero realized that it was of course worth taking care that the workers did not blab too much if the news about the mine spread. The counts would cause them trouble. Logan realized to himself that his father would be a problem for him. He had done a lot of things on his own while he was away at training. A week later, the hero finally met his father, who had finally become a professional knight. This was what the guy expected when he passed on the iron blood sword technique to him. But he never thought that his skills would improve in 3 months, even though there had been no progress for more than 10 years before that. Patrick began to say that his son had done a lot during his absence. He did not fully believe that water had appeared in this wasteland. Both his level advancement and the transformation of these lands all happened thanks to Logan. What he accomplished in 3 months exceeds his entire contribution in 30 years. He thanked him for everything he had done, and said that he was blessed to have a son like him. Patrick said that he could now trust him with the affairs of their house, while he himself would train the knights. Upon hearing this, the guy was in a stupor. Logan said that he had no plans to become a lord yet, but his father interrupted him and said that he had learned a few things during his training. He has grown old, although he managed to master the basics of the iron blood sword technique. The secret technique is completely beyond his reach. If he had taken it upon himself to study it in his youth, when his power had just awakened, everything would have worked out. But with the current strength, which has formed its own specific flow over so many years, Patrick will not be able to even create a core. Since he gave up, he thought it was Logan and Damien's time. But thanks to this, he was finally able to break through the barrier that had hindered him for so many years. Patrick said that it was now time for him to step back and train those who would open the way for Logan. In the end, the hero accepted his father's words, since he says so. He has no choice. Patrick then turned to Linda and asked her to help Logan fully fulfill his role. The stepmother said that his achievements were enough to see him as a reliable heir, and called him the first young master, before she only wanted success for Damien and therefore fought with the hero. She said that he didn't need to apologize. He had already apologized before. Although she couldn't accept it, it was all because of her stubbornness. She hoped that he would be generous and understanding. Logan replied that it might be his genius, but in just a week he had created a power core and had already mastered the first form. She hadn't seen him as happy as he had been recently for many years. Linda asked to continue to take care of him. He will remain his little brother in the future. As she was about to leave, Logan said after her that parents don't need to use honorifics when addressing children. From now on, he asked to speak to him without formalities, as in childhood. And as soon as the guy called her mother, the woman shed a parental tear of happiness. Then, Logan watched the pair of parents walk away into the sunset. Logan said that once the city was completed, they would begin clearing the weeds and reclaiming the land for plowing before early next spring. They hope that the harvest will significantly exceed what their ancestral lands produced. The residents must agree, as they plan to give property rights to those who move in, and the new houses will be better than the straw houses everyone lives in. The guy also said that he asked Dwayne to post a recruitment notice for knights, if they agreed to join the regular army later. Patrick said that Logan tried well, but on the other hand he was too hopeless. He asked since when they had 2 knightly orders. Logan thought to himself about their knights, and those who deserted the kingdom after losing the war between the feudal lords. They have been in the same order for some time now, but still behave like opponents. Patrick understands that it is difficult to become close to those with whom they once fought to the death, but he believed that they would find their way, realizing their way as a knight. He said they just weren't thirsty, not at all. He trained until he dropped to become stronger, and his son worked tirelessly for the good of their territory. While the so-called knights were fighting for their pride like little children, he was too indifferent to them and takes full responsibility for it. The knights mentally asked their commander to intercede and help them, so that he would do something. The commander then approached Patrick and said that his condition had become much better, and began to admire the former lord. The former master said that he would first put their behavior in order. He tried the power of sword art on the crowd of knights. He thought to himself that they would have no time for stupid thoughts if he drove them like dogs. He would discipline them and hand over an excellent knightly order into Logan's hands. At this time, Dwayne was busy with documents. He was thinking about something that in 30 years he could not even think that signing documents without worrying about the budget could make him happy. At this time, the servants condemned the actions of the young master. They could not believe that something strange was happening to him. He almost monopolized the budget. Dwayne began to defend Logan. He did not understand why they doubted him. Perhaps they were blinded by the glitter of money. Suddenly, while working with documents, Dwayne found a scary document and went to Logan to ask where he wanted to spend the gold bars. The hero replied that he was going to buy mithril, about 100 kilograms. The minister is simply required to sign a paper after all. He himself said that he believes him. The man asked what he was going to do with something that is thousands of times more valuable than gold. When Philip learned that Logan wanted to buy mithril to equip the knights, he said that it would be impossible. He said that mithril cannot be bought simply by borrowing money. This metal contains mana, is 10 times stronger than steel, and 3 times lighter, and is often called the silver of the gods. You can't buy something like this just because he's rich. People can't get it on their own. Moreover, for such a large order, Logan will need not only money, but also influence. After some time, a request came to Count Ben's house from the countryside, from Logan's house. The guy's colleague told him to report to the Duke, although he was too busy to answer such calls. Half an hour later, Ben burst into the guy's office and asked loudly if the information he had received was accurate. The workers were surprised that the Duke had arrived so quickly. They did not understand what could be so important in that backwater. Ben took a call from Logan. He said he was doing well, except for the lack of news from the one he personally trained. The Count said that the guy was still as good at flattery. His call came just in time. He said that he wanted to express his gratitude to him. The hero did not understand what the Baron meant. It seems that he helped him somehow unknowingly. Ben smiled genuinely happily and said that his wife was pregnant with his child. Logan was very happy for him. He said that it was not because of him, but because of Ben himself. The Lord said that the guy was still as impudent as ever, and that both heaven and his efforts helped. But first and foremost, this is Logan's merit, and he is sincerely grateful to him. When the child is born, the Baron invites the boy to the capital. His wife also wants to thank him personally. Suddenly, Ben said that as a thank you, he wanted to teach him a new technique. Hearing this, Logan began to bow lower and began to thank. The man said that being reliable was clearly his trait. He had no more news. He asked to tell why he called. After that, the guy asked to help him get some mithril. He needs about 100 kilograms to create knightly equipment. The Baron said he needed someone with strength, but he was worried whether he would have enough money, whether his medicine was really selling that well. He said he didn't invest that much in his knights. He underestimated his generosity. Ben finally agreed to his request. He said that he would take care of him personally. He said that it was not a difficult task, but he would definitely need to come to the capital when the child was born. And for now, the Lord wants him to call him mentor, instead of addressing him by his title. Having said this, Ben turned away in embarrassment. Having told him to let him know when everything was ready on his side, the Baron cut off the call. After that, Logan was very happy that he would be the Duke of the Sword's apprentice. He asked only for a small favor, and he did him such an honor. At first, he was going to turn to Jeff, but he realized that he needed to rest. After all, Logan was driven by knowledge from the future, and he would be more useful if he rested. Logan was very pleased that he was such a generous employer. He said that the dwarf was blessed. During this time, Jeff began to have nightmares about Logan again, forcing him to work long hours without days off. After some time, crowds of guys gathered on the outskirts of Logan's lands. These guys were less than 20 years old. They came to hire themselves out and passed a simple test. Dwayne asked Logan if he needed to hire that many. Usually it was enough to have 10 times the number of knights. The hero thought to himself that no matter what anyone said, building up strength was necessary. He would personally make the selection, even if they went into a slight minus. The Order of Knights is a symbol of the power of the territory. Its rear is covered by elite forces, which are called the regular army or the knights' apprentices. In most feudal lords, the physical abilities of boys are tested before they reach adulthood, and only those whose abilities exceed the standard are accepted and trained as soldiers. Talented individuals among the chosen few undergo rigorous training that tests the limits of their human capabilities, after which they awaken the power and become knights. But the Empire had a new theory, and it wanted to approach this issue differently. Thanks to this theory, the Empire used the overwhelming power of 50,000 knights in the war to crush its neighboring countries within 9 years. Logan thought to himself that they had gathered all the soldiers and reselected them to form a squad of knight apprentices. Logan complained that there was no one over 20 among them, but then he would not have enough people for the upcoming development of the city. The hero asked a man how they chose the knights. He replied that they simply told them to run and chose in turn from those who came first to the finish line. Then the guy ordered to accept those with keen eyesight, hearing, and quick reactions. The first test was to check the boy's vision. Dwayne ordered them to walk forward until they saw an image. Some guy tried to suck up to Logan, but the hero refused his words and said that there was no need for compliments from the very beginning. Some boy finally saw the drawing. It was a drawing of a rooster. Logan and the minister were very surprised by this. The second test was a hearing test. Dwayne said he would say the same word, and they had to walk forward until they heard it. Some boy said the word the minister said, and also said that Dwayne called the guy a bastard. Logan said the boy passed the test, but Dwayne himself was in for a dressing down soon. The guy couldn't believe that 250 people passed with excellent results for the vision and hearing tests. He needed to get 500 in total to get 1,000 together with the others. But among them, there are many obviously small and skinny children. Most likely due to lack of nutrition, creating a likeness of Victor from them will take a lot of time. All this time Victor was training. His knight's teachers said that he was good, but his style was quite aggressive. The boy thought to himself about what Logan had said, that if he could perfectly execute the Thousand Swords technique, he could become a knight. It is unknown how long Logan will wait for him to become a knight. Suddenly, Logan arrived to watch the guy's training, and his appearance frightened Victoria. The guy noticed to himself that the guy definitely had talent. A 16-year-old boy, who has only been studying sword art for a year, maintains the correct basic stance even when swinging the sword sharply. Moreover, the speed of the sword during this swing is actually faster than when he uses standard sword techniques. He thought that his martial art still lived up to the nickname of aristocratic killer, even though his personality didn't match it. Logan then called the boy to him and said that tomorrow he planned to leave the castle and go train soldiers in another territory, just until winter. The hero invited the boy to go with him, but he asked to take his sister with him. Logan asked him if he wanted to bring the girl to a training camp full of men, if he was sure it was a good idea for her. Victor insisted on his demand. He wants to take her. Logan was surprised that he is so mature, but becomes a child when it comes to his sister. The guy said that if something happens to her, then full responsibility will be on him. In response, Victor said that he will take care of him. Victor said that she is very important to him. He has no other family. The boy said that their parents died because of him. That's why he cares about her so much. Victoria lost them because of him. That's why he must protect her, his only family. A few days later, James was training young men who had passed the selection process for the army. James said that they didn't come to play, so they had to follow his orders. Logan told him that it was nice to work with experienced people. The role of a training instructor suited him. The master replied that since he treated him like a knight, he accepted his offer to renew the contract. The hero was surprised when he suggested renewing contracts with other mercenaries as well. Information about crossbows could not be allowed to leak out. Suddenly, James approached the guy and asked him if he wanted to start a war within 2 days. Logan replied that he was not a warmonger. It was just that sometimes it could not be avoided. Among this whole crowd, only Victor stood out among people he is called a monster. A couple of guys started to discuss him, but one of them found out that Victor was the young master's servant. The boy thought that if even a servant was capable of this, then he was even more so. After this, he, saying that he would not give in to him, rushed forward, leaving his comrade who was dying of fatigue. James said that the effect of Victor's presence was just as Logan had said. He didn't expect that they already had outstanding physical abilities and the will to fight. That's enough. Victor is clearly absorbing the power. It won't be long now. If he awakens, he will become the strongest motivation for the soldiers. But contrary to Logan's hopes, Victor will commit murder in the near future. After a grueling workout, the children headed to the canteen, where they replenished their strength with delicious food. Guys put up with stupid workouts just for the sake of delicious food. One of the boys said that after a few weeks of good eating, he had gained a little weight, and he said that if he could always eat like that, he would have no other wishes. Victoria, who worked in this canteen as a waitress who served food and drinks, approached these boys. When she left, the guys said that she was just lovely as always. They said that she was an angel. Victor was staring at them from the next table, his presence emitting a murderous aura. He threatened that if they did not turn away, he would gouge out their eyes. After eating, Victor carefully looked for his sister, who had gone somewhere at such a late hour. He heard some strange sounds around the corner and discovered that some man was beating Victoria. When he tried to start making excuses, the boy pounced on him. The guy attacked him and hit him in the face with his knee, which sent him flying to the side. The man said that if he beat him, he would definitely not be safe. After these words, he immediately got punched in the face. When he realized that his life was in danger, Victor was already about to kill him. One of the boys was watching all this and was frightened by what he saw and immediately ran away from that place. There were terrible things in the guy's thoughts. Some voice from the past sounded, asking him to take care of Victoria. At the last moment, the guy was stopped by Logan, who ordered him to calm down and look around. Victor finally calmed down. He saw his sister, who was shaking with fear. A nurse ran to her aid, who told her to rest. It seems she was very shocked, and she told the rest to take care of the body of this dead guy. A moment later, Logan was standing in front of the boy and asked him if he regretted what he had done. The guy replied that he didn't regret it at all. Then Logan asked why he apologized. Victor said he apologized because he killed one of his soldiers without permission. The hero replied that it was not true, but he thought he regretted something else. He regrets bringing his sister with him. His stubbornness almost got her hurt. Dragging her around and trying to protect her is not the best option. Logan asked the guy to think for a little while, and he would understand that it was better not to bring her to potentially dangerous places where he would have to protect her. He allowed the boy to take his sister with him, so that he would soon realize that it would be a mistake. The hero didn't expect it to be like this, but he feels guilty before Victoria. He thought that maybe this would help him stop being overly caring. Victor agreed to any punishment, and was not at all afraid of responsibility. His sister was simply a victim. Logan replied that murder was a crime, but he had worked hard today. Next time he would need to ask the hero for permission first. He doesn't want his knighthood to be delayed by a worthless pervert. That same evening, Logan talked to James and he asked if it was reasonable that his servant killed a common man. The guy replied that Victor was his servant, not his property. Other students say that he was a harlot in his village too, and even before coming there he made lustful remarks towards Victoria. So Logan's servant killed a vile criminal, so what? James said they would say that Victor was acting on his orders. He will publicly shame him for his crimes and hang him from the castle gates. James needs to warn the soldiers about this. All this time, Logan was marking something on the map. The guy replied that this was a secret event for the soldiers. The news that Victor had killed a man shocked the soldiers, but when the details of the soldiers' crime were revealed, the knights were furious. They always felt that this guy was strange. They knew that one day he would do something like this. The incident quickly fizzled out. 3 months later, as the new year approached, James said that it had simply been 2 years since they met. The training period lasted 90 days. The young guys continued their training in the sweat of their brow. James said that now everyone can cope. Only those with sufficient endurance and perseverance remain. At this time, Patrick was next to them and agreed with his son's decision to start training together. He said that the time had come. Soon their knights would need practical training. They have learned the basics, but true mastery comes during real combat. Logan said that his father was right. Abilities would improve when you put them into practice. Father and son shook hands angrily, while James watched, realizing that hard times were ahead. A few days later, Patrick was training the young knights' swords, requiring them to control their breathing. The knights charged their attacks with power that sawed through trees like paper. They were happy with their success. They really could cut down a huge tree with one blow. Logan said that all those months of grueling training paid off. This is the true power of the Iron Blood Sword. The training of real knights was observed by boys who had only been learning the art for a few months. The hero ordered the guys not to relax, because they were not in an ordinary forest. This unusual forest is inhabited by monsters that were already heading towards the knights. The warriors were able to hold back the first onslaught of the attacking monsters without any problems. The goblins' tactics changed. They scattered in order not to die so easily. Logan ordered the crossbows to be ready. They need to kill every goblin that runs away. An unspoken competition began among the knights to see who could kill the most goblins. Suddenly, a horde of horned wolves ran out of the forest, clearly stronger than the previous weakling goblins. They very quickly reached the detachments that were able to displace the human force. James also ordered the cavalry with crossbows. They are required to fire their guns and kill the monsters. As it turned out, the wolves were immune to crossbow shots and continued to attack people. Logan then ordered the swordsmen to get ready, led by Victor, who had become even stronger during this time. It was no trouble for him to kill the wolf with one swing of his sword. Some people were overtaken by wolves. They bit into their limbs and pierced their skin. The young knights were frightened by such events. Their bodies were gripped by fear that did not even allow them to move. Logan came to the aid of one of them, cutting the wolf's body in two. He ordered this guy to get ready. He needs to take the wounded and retreat, since he is not doing anything sensible. Logan thought to himself that everything was going as expected. Most of them couldn't do anything when an unexpected skirmish happened. However, those who made it into the top 100 in the sensory testing are different. Once again, one of the guys is attacked by a wolf, behind which Victor appears, swinging his sword at him. The boy was amazed by his abilities. His swordsmanship was on par with strong knights. Logan saw that Victor had clearly already broken free from his cocoon. He realized that very soon he would enter the realm of the aura user. After some time, Patrick finished his side. Logan reported that his squad had also finished. The former count said that it had already been a month and a half since the training began. A lot of time had passed. They had somehow found 3 cities where there were thousands of monsters. The thought of them all joining forces and attacking the castle was enough to send shivers down Patrick's spine, and he was grateful to God that they had managed to find them in time. At this time, Logan was in charge of the night's work. He asked them to be patient for a little while. They just needed to cut down the trees. The knights were unhappy that they had been cutting down trees and monsters for a month and a half. It was killing them. Logan said he couldn't believe that so many beautiful trees would be left untouched by monsters. He trained soldiers, got wood for the city, and killed 2 birds with 1 stone. There were more monsters there than the guy expected, so they were a little delayed, but they also got a lot of information. Some candidates who were among the top 200 and 500 in the sensory testing absorbed the power, although weakly. The hero thought to himself that perhaps awakening the power required excellent functioning of the 6 senses, a survival instinct, or even a fighting spirit. At this time, Jeff, standing next to the hero, felt uncomfortable because of his sinister laughter out of nowhere. Then he said that there was enough wood. They needed to finish building the city. There was 1 month left until spring. The guy asked if it was even possible to finish it in that amount of time, he just said, hoping that there was at least some chance. The gnome replied that they had magicians with them, and the workers were quite motivated after the dam was built. There was enough food, and the typical construction would go faster over time. Logan looked at his subordinate and couldn't understand if Jeff had always been so reliable. He liked his state after the vacation. The construction was attended by magicians, and Hank was their leader. He used earth magic to construct the buildings. Logan thanked him for agreeing to the additional terms. He probably isn't very pleased, because the magic tower will be built in a small city, not a large one. Hank replied that he had promised annual financial assistance of 10 million, so it didn't matter to him what size the city was. Moreover, the tower will be located in the center of the largest town in the kingdom. It will not be much different from other cities. If everything goes according to Logan's plan, this town will become the center of the entire region and larger than Peter's kingdom. When Hank mentioned building a castle, the guy wondered whether he needed it. It was enough for him that people would have a place to grow food and live. But since the town is large, crowds will also increase, which increases the risk of an uprising. But Logan said that wouldn't happen unless the people of this city were exploited. The magician couldn't believe what he heard, an aristocrat who didn't exploit others. He called Logan a reliable young master to himself and called on everyone to vote for him. He then asked if he was sure that such an earthen wall was good enough. They could be invaded at any moment. The guy replied that this would not happen, because this place would never be a battlefield. He would not allow this. Hank realized that he did care about the well-being of the people, but Logan replied that he did not care about them in the same way that his students cared about him. One winter night, Logan continued his training in new techniques. He fired a bolt of light from his sword and pierced the huge rock straight through. The guy was happy with his success. He used this technique for the first time, and everything worked out the first time. Not only did it pierce the boulder, but it also pierced the tree behind it. This is the second form of the divine sword's secret, a cut that pierces iron. Time passed quickly. Hank with his students was busy with the construction of buildings all this time. At the same time, Logan and Dwayne were busy with paperwork in the house. In the second month of construction, the city was completed and received its long-awaited name. People who received their own housing for free were doubly happy. People came to the city with their families, with their children. Soon after the construction was completed, summer arrived. Dwayne approached the hero and said that the development of the city land was going smoothly. The only drawback was that they had little male labor for such a large amount of land. Logan said that the refugees started coming when they heard rumors. He ordered the minister to let everyone in. Then he asked him about Jeff. Dwayne said that the gnome was still on vacation. This time he was gone for a long time. It would be a long time before he returned. The hero suddenly began to wonder if he was spoiling him too much. Everything was going well with the construction of the city and the creation of additional crossbows. However, Dwayne heard that Jeff had received a lot of mithril before going on vacation. He asked if it was true. Logan confirmed the rumors. He gave it to him to practice during his rest and make some weapons for the knights. The construction of the city was completed, and there were no problems with its development. But there was only one problem left. At this time, Count Max from the neighboring estate was indignant about the development of the wastelands by the Logan family. He said that nothing would grow in that land. His servants said that he became curious, and that was the only reason he went to look. He said that they had drilled a hole in the mountain to bring water from the nearest river. He said that there were rumors that the first young gentleman had made money in business and had found a gold mine. When the Count asked about the approximate harvest, the man replied that, according to a superficial calculation, it would amount to double their harvest. Max was shocked that the neighboring territory had suddenly become rich, and he decided that he couldn't sit idly by. The servant said that some residents from their lands went to their city. They can use this as an excuse to get there. The only problem with his plan is that the neighboring barony might interfere. Max ordered to contact this house. They have the same high taxes as them. The two viscounties will unite and take over the newly built city. The servant fell on his knee and acknowledged his master's decision as wise. At this time, Logan told Patrick and his subordinates that they had selected about 300 particularly talented recruits and were training them separately, without burdening them with assignments. Patrick asked him if they were all worthy of becoming knights. Logan said that at least he hoped so. Dwayne said that there were quite a lot of them, and the captain of the Order of Knights said that there were not just a lot of them, but an absurdly large number. Even if he trains soldiers like crazy for 10 years, only 1 in 100 will awaken the power. When the hero said that they would bring 100 soldiers every year, Dwayne was indignant that they did not need that many. Patrick replied that their family was now at a stage of significant development, and excessive expansion of the army could provoke neighboring territories. Logan said that their city is fully ready for exploitation. The wasteland has turned into plains. Max and Charlie's family will not be left out. But Dwayne and the captain of the
Oh
Knightly
my.
Order did not understand how they could provoke the neighboring territories. The guy replied that they needed to remember how many refugees they had accepted recently. Some of them had left them. In their place, Logan would have used this as an excuse. The minister began to scold him for the fact that since he had foreseen it, it was worth preventing the disaster. Suddenly, Patrick realized that Logan had been planning to start a war from the very beginning. He replied that they would have to deal with these enemies eventually anyway. After Patrick realized that he had handed over power to him too early, Rick burst into the office and announced that Charlie and Max's families had sent ambassadors. Logan said that things were starting to happen, and they needed to discuss how to deal with them and move forward. At this time, the carriage with the ambassadors and their guards entered the city, and they met joyful residents on their way. They were interested in observing the picture of the city. They had never seen cities like this. The houses are neatly arranged along a wide road. The town does not have the sophisticated charm of the big cities, but feels fresh. And what's more important, ordinary people are unusually pure and joyful. One of the ambassadors told the local guard that this was a good place. He didn't know who came up with the idea, but it was a great attempt. The guard replied that he was right. It was all thanks to the first young gentleman. The ambassador was shocked that this entire great city was designed and built by a young gentleman who was only 20 years old. The guard began to explain what they owed to Logan and why he was better than everyone else. It was a long and tedious speech, from which the ambassadors were tired. Then the guard suggested that they tell a joke that would brighten the journey to the castle, but the ambassadors were tired of his chatter. After some time, the ambassadors reached the castle, where they were met by Logan and Patrick. He noticed that they looked tired. One of the ambassadors said that they truly had excellent soldiers. Soon they started talking. They demanded the return of the missing refugees, and in order to avoid a repeat of the incident, they demanded that control over the plains of the territory be handed over to Peter. The demands made by the ambassadors created a tense atmosphere in the main hall. Logan said to himself that, in other words, they demand to give up the entire castle and half of the developed lands. They are clearly asking for war. Suddenly, the captain of the order appeared and shouted that the ambassadors wanted to immediately start a war. When they began to drive them out of the castle, obvious hostility appeared on their faces. One of them said that they could not intimidate the ambassadors. If they did not want to start a war, they should recall the knights. Patrick replied that it was they who wanted to start a war, and they were not afraid of this desire. The ambassadors said that their house would be reduced to nothing but dust, so were they really willing to be destroyed? Logan told his father that they had forgotten their duties as aristocrats. There was no need for negotiations, and after these words the ambassadors were surrounded and ordered to be seized. The ambassadors considered the gentlemen to be mad. They wanted to start a war between the kingdoms so easily. Logan began to walk down to them and asked how they dared point fingers and use the word take towards the ruler of the lands. When the guy began to take out his sword and scabbard, the ambassadors were already frightened and speechless. Because of such impudence, they ordered their guards to attack the young master and protect them. Without a doubt, Logan killed the first guard who attacked him. Then the heads of all the other guards flew, and the hero decapitated the guards passing by with one movement. He said that since they dared to draw swords on foreign territory, they had to prepare for death. When Logan began to approach them, one of the ambassadors began to abuse him, for which he was immediately killed with one movement. The remaining ambassador realized what such behavior would cost him and knelt before the young master. Logan said that it was a wise decision. He needed to return to his master and convey what Logan wanted. After this, Patrick ordered their knights to prepare for the coming war. On the very day that Ambassador Charlie was killed, the Logan family sent a magical message to two Viscounts. Charlie began to be indignant at this behavior. He thought that they had gone crazy. His servant said that they insisted on compensation for the damage caused by the ambassador's insolence. The Baron immediately began to be indignant again. He believed that these beggars had become a little better and were now fearlessly showing off. He said it wasn't that they had the strength to fight them. He wanted to show mercy once. In the Tesseron barracks, a magic ball says that Charlie demands the return of the runaway serfs, payment of 10 million gold as compensation, and the transfer of the Tesseron planes to them. Logan was surprised that the answer came only 2 days later, and yet they went there immediately after sending the message. Patrick didn't understand why there was such a hurry. They may not know, but they have enough strength to crush the Vinconstants. The hero replied that they needed to capture Charlie as soon as possible. The more strength they showed, the less such petty mockery they would hear in the future. There is no need to mobilize soldiers if Charlie is quickly captured by regular troops. Max will not dare to act rashly. Suddenly, James entered the room and said that 1,300 soldiers of the regular army, including 100 located in the main fortress, and 300 mercenaries were ready. He said that the soldiers were provided with armor, spears, crossbows, and horses, and he was confident that no force could surpass them. The crossbowmen became 5 times stronger than they were during the war with the Tesserons, and the level of the Father and the Knights increased thanks to the mastery of the Iron Blood Sword. It's unlikely that they'll lose to Max and Charlie even if they team up, but it's not worth provoking both of them at the same time just yet. After uniting their territory with theirs, Logan's family will have 5 strongholds, making their territory comparable to a margraviate. And then the first and second princes, vying for the throne, will want to lure them to their side. Now it is impossible to attract the attention of these factions, since Logan wants to make the third prince king. In his past life, he was the first prince, but he took advantage of Logan's family and abandoned them. His repressions greatly weakened the kingdom. The second prince did not distinguish himself in any way, so only the third prince remains. Although he is the third, he is the son of the current queen. Despite his youth, the king considers him the heir to the
5,000.
throne because of his outstanding talent. However, the prince is
Okay. 5,058. Oh, all right. Well, that's it for the day. 3 hours and 45 minutes is pretty good. 5,000 words. That's it. That's what I wanted. I will finish this up. I'll probably finish this little few paragraphs up and then take this last 1, 2, 3 pages and bring that to the next chapter. Yeah. All right, people. Thank you for watching. There's a lot of people watching today. Have a great day. I'm going to be out of here. Good luck on your books. Hope everybody is writing well, and buy a book. Links are in the chat. Plenty to choose from. I appreciate it. And if you can't buy a book, it's okay. I get it. Like, subscribe. Don't be a dick. It's free. And yeah, peace out, everybody. I'm gonna end stream. See you tomorrow. Peace.